Chapter 1761. You can tell. Little Medicine Fairy was a little puzzled. Even her father could not tell. Yi Tianyun's cultivation was not as strong as her father's, how could he tell? This made her feel a little skeptical. However, when she heard Yi Tianyun swear, she believed him a little more. Yes, I can see that. Besides, you said before that other than Yarrow Yuli, it is very difficult for anyone to make a move here. You should be able to guess the reason. Yi Tianyun said. Little Medicine Fairy pondered for a moment before saying, all right, but I do need you to cooperate with me in order to expose him. Correspondingly, your life will be in danger. You have to think about this carefully. If there is no problem after the investigation, I'm afraid it will be difficult for you to leave. I've already thought it through. As I said earlier, if there is any Fossard, I will never be able to reincarnate. However, it's useless to say these words. If there is any Fossard, I will be at your disposal. Yi Tianyun said resolutely, I am the leader of the Alliance, the domain master of the Three Realms Divine Realm. Just this identity alone is enough to have some weight, right? The evil emperor's soul could be sensed with just a little investigation. There was no difficulty at all. Therefore, it was impossible to hide. As long as he investigated slightly, the truth would be revealed. However, this process would not be smooth. In order to prevent himself from being investigated, the evil emperor would definitely do all kinds of things to prevent himself from being investigated. He would have to rely on Little Medicine Fairy's help. At that time, not to mention investigating, the medicine god would probably slap him to the ground. If this doesn't have weight, then I really don't know who does. After Little Medicine Fairy finished speaking, she thought for a while and nodded. All right, it's decided then. Now that you said it, I really believe you. If that's really the case, then it's an extremely serious matter. At that time, we and the evil spirit race will not rest until we are dead. The evil spirit race had not only deceived them, but also blasphemed their ancestor. They even pretended that their ancestor had given them an order, which made them extremely angry. Not giving up until one of them was dead was considered light. If they didn't completely destroy them, they probably wouldn't give up. All right, then I'll pretend to leave now and come back to visit. You'll be the one to introduce me to the Medicine God Palace Lord. Yi Tianyun immediately finalized the plan. He had to get the Little Medicine Fairy to cooperate in order to carry out these steps. Otherwise, if he had come alone to visit, let alone this main hall, he probably wouldn't even be able to enter any of the better temples. The rules were as such. A neutral existence would not talk to the other domain masters. At most, they could come in to exchange for some resources. Apart from that, there was basically nothing they could do. Therefore, even if he knew the secret, he still needed to see the person before he could reveal the situation. If he spouted nonsense outside, he would probably be chased out. The Little Medicine Fairy nodded, looked at him and said, then you should leave now. Little Princess Yarrow's are you not going to help me leave? Yi Tianyun shrugged and said, with your help, I can save a lot of effort. Otherwise, it would take me a lot of effort to get out slowly. It's not that simple to enter. He couldn't use the teleportation godstone to leave directly. There were circles of energy surrounding the Medicine God Palace. It was difficult to use the teleportation godstone to leave. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said that. The Little Medicine Fairy was stunned and said in a daze, seeing how you sneaked in so easily, I thought you could leave as well. After a while, Yi Tianyun released the Little Medicine Fairy and transferred him to the Little Medicine Fairy's space. This was the best way to get out of this place. The Little Medicine Fairy brought him directly to the outside area. The journey was naturally smooth and no one stopped her. It wasn't that everyone couldn't leave. Empyrean-level existences could still enter and leave as they pleased. Those with too low a cultivation level wouldn't be allowed to leave. The Medicine God Palace didn't have much contact with the outside world, but it didn't mean that no one could leave. After all, there were many things that the Medicine God Palace didn't have. They could only go out and search for them. All right. After the Little Medicine Fairy released Yi Tianyun, she stared at him and said, this is the general plan. There might be changes in the process. When the time comes, it will depend on our ability to adapt. If you're right, then the Medicine God Palace will completely change. If you're wrong, then the Medicine God Palace won't change and you'll die. The little medicine fairy wasn't worried that Yi Tianyun would escape. Since she had already said so, she believed that Yi Tianyun definitely wouldn't escape. In your heart, do you hope that this matter is true or false? Yi Tianyun asked. It's true. The little medicine fairy replied without even thinking, I don't want the Medicine God Palace to remain neutral. I don't want the world I live in to be invaded by enemies from the outside world. Therefore, I hope that this matter is true and that the evil spirit race is lying to us. This so-called neutrality had reduced their interactions. Many disciples could only stay in the Medicine God Palace and had no way of contacting the outside world. This made the little medicine fairy very puzzled. She even felt that it was very unreasonable. However, this was the wish of her ancestor. She could only choose to obey. Now that she knew that everything was caused by the evil spirit race, perhaps this was an opportunity for change. The final effect would definitely be extremely disgusting. After being deceived by the evil spirit race for so long, how could she not feel disgusted? Correspondingly, it would bring about a complete change to the Medicine God Palace. The little medicine fairy would fiercely thank the evil spirit race. Naturally, the way to repay them was to completely destroy the evil spirit race. All right, as you wish. Yi Tianyun indicated for the little medicine fairy to return first. The plan would begin later. The little medicine fairy nodded and turned around to return. After a period of time, Yi Tianyun flew to the entrance. Just as he arrived at the entrance, he was immediately stopped by the guards. Who are you? The guards sized him up with a vigilant expression. Don't be nervous. I'm here to make a deal, Yi Tianyun said with a faint smile. It's a very simple spiritual medicine transaction. This should be fine, right? Which faction do you belong to? The guard asked as a matter of routine. Divine Realm of the Three Realms, Yi Tianyun said truthfully. Divine Realm of the Three Realms? The guards were startled, but they still nodded and said, all right, come in. As long as they were not from the evil spirit race, they could basically enter at will. In any case, they were all here to make a deal. Especially when it was only Yi Tianyun alone, it was impossible for him to overturn the heavens, right? Therefore, there were definitely not many people who could enter to make a deal. Only a small number of people could enter to make a deal. More than 5 people were basically not allowed to enter. Yi Tianyun easily entered and was then brought to the trading hall. It was specially set up near the entrance. There was no need to enter the 5 mountains at all. It was just at the outermost area. Chapter 1762. In this trading hall, the people who received Yi Tianyun were naturally some deacons. They came up to him and asked him directly, Welcome, Lord Tianyun. What do you want to exchange for? The deacon who came was very polite and looked up and down at Yi Tianyun. The domain lord of the Three Realms Divine Realm was Yi Tianyun, and he was very famous in the entire Divine Realm. After all, not only was he the Alliance Master, but he also defeated the evil Emperor. All these achievements were amazing. They had to pay more attention to such a famous territorial lord. They wanted to see what kind of existence the legendary Tianyun territorial lord was. Actually, I don't want to exchange for anything. I just want to see the drug god and form an alliance with you. Yi Tianyun directly stated his intention. After hearing this, the deacon's face suddenly sank. Lord Tianyun, didn't you understand the rules of the Medicine God Temple before you came here? The Medicine God Temple does not accept any alliance and will only remain neutral. If you want to discuss something like an alliance, I'm very sorry, but please leave. What about just seeing the Medicine God Temple Master? Yi Tianyun asked with a smile. No, unless you have some extremely precious treasures, you can't see him. The deacon shook his head and said, Of course I have extremely precious treasures. Please take me to see the drug god. Yi Tianyun smiled. What precious treasures are you talking about? Please take it out and let us have a look before we make a decision. The deacon still refused to let Yi Tianyun go. He had to identify it in person. It showed that there was still a chance to see the drug god, but he needed to take out some rare treasures. Of course, It was possible that the one who would see him in the end would only be one of the elders, not the drug god. Of course, even if he really saw the drug god, he could directly say that there was something wrong with the statue or Yarrow Yuli, and he would be slapped away. No one would believe his nonsense, especially the other forces. What about the reincarnation grass of life and death? Yi Tianyun casually made up a treasure. Reincarnation grass of life and death. Their expressions changed, and they became a little excited. Then, can the Tianyun region lord take it out for us? As long as you see the reincarnation grass, you can immediately go see the alchemy god. The reincarnation grass of life and death was extremely rare. Legend had it that after consuming it, even if one died, they would be able to reincarnate with their memories and be reborn. This meant an extra life, so it was naturally an extremely rare treasure. Of course, he didn't. He was just making it up. The deacon also wanted him to take it out for a look. Otherwise, he would not let him go. You don't have the right to see it. If you show it, it will cause the spiritual energy of the reincarnation grass to leak out. It's not worth it, said Yi Tianyun, shaking his head. But this is a necessary rule. If you don't show it, reincarnation grass? Do I have the right to see it? At this time, the little medicine fairy walked over from the side with an indifferent expression. I'm an elder here and also the next hall master. It shouldn't be a problem for me to take a look, right? Princess Little Medicine Fairy. When the deacons saw the little medicine fairy, they all stood to the side respectfully. Oh, so you're the next hall master. Of course, that's not a problem, Yi Tianyun said readily. Then follow me to the appraisal. The little medicine fairy smiled and gestured for Yi Tianyun to follow her. The other deacons looked at each other and naturally did not stop them. The little medicine fairy's authority was higher than theirs. She could do whatever she wanted, so it was not a problem for her to do the appraisal. Then, they went to the appraisal room and came out after a while. There's no problem with the appraisal. I will now bring him to the hall master of the medicine temple. When they were outside, the little medicine fairy would not call the alchemy god father, but the hall master of the medicine temple. The deacons nodded and looked at Yi Tianyun with shining eyes. They did not expect Yi Tianyun to really have the reincarnation grass of life and death. It was an extremely rare item. Judging from its rarity, it could probably be exchanged for very good treasures, or other spiritual medicines and the like. According to the grade, the reincarnation grass was equivalent to the 8th level, close to the 9th level. It was quite heaven-defying. The 9th level was the highest level in this world, but it only existed in legends. In fact, this was just a plan they had arranged before. First, they used the reincarnation grass as the starting point, and then the little medicine fairy would come to appraise it. In this way, they could naturally bring people up. Otherwise, they would not be able to bring people up at will. Even the little medicine fairy would have to give others an explanation. Along the way, the little medicine fairy did not say a word to Yi Tianyun. She just led him to the medicine temple. When they arrived at the medicine temple, the elders were very puzzled when they saw unfamiliar faces. Why would an outsider come to the medicine temple? After the little medicine fairy's explanation, they suddenly realized that they had come with the reincarnation grass. That was the most important thing. So many elders were asking about it as soon as they returned. This was just as they had expected. If they wanted to come in and cooperate with the act, they had to be prepared. At this time, the elders all came to see the reincarnation grass with their own eyes. It's the reincarnation grass. I haven't seen it in years. I wonder who will take it. I think the first elder might take it. After all, it's difficult for him to break through, and there are some shortcomings that can't be fixed. It would be best if he could be reincarnated. That's possible for the first elder. That's great. With the reincarnation grass, the first elder might be able to break through and become the next god emperor after the medicine temple master. But if that's the case, Princess Little Medicine Fairy, they whispered to each other. After a while, they suddenly thought of the Little Medicine Fairy's situation. The first elder's advantage was obvious. He was also a super genius. He could have become the temple master, but due to some shortcomings, he could only remain as an elder. If he could be reincarnated, it would be different. He would definitely be able to break through again and have a higher chance of becoming a god emperor than the little medicine fairy. In this way, the little medicine fairy really had no chance of becoming the temple master. Yi Tianyun almost laughed out loud. If the first elder knew about this, he would definitely be overjoyed. But the truth was that there was no reincarnation grass. If he knew the truth, he would probably vomit blood. Only in this kind of situation could the many elders follow up to the end. This was just as they had planned. They needed more spectators. Chapter 1763. As more and more elders arrived, it could be said to be a majestic sight. All of them wanted to see the true appearance of the grass of life and death again. At the same time, they were happy for the great elder. If the great elder had the reincarnation grass, he would definitely improve a lot. It was a pity for the little medicine fairy, but it was not a bad thing for the medicine god temple to have one more expert. In terms of ability, the great elder was indeed better than the little medicine fairy. In terms of physique, the great elder was not as good as the little medicine fairy. It was not because of the medicine god's body. However, the position of a hall master was not something that could be fulfilled just by relying on one's physique. There were still many things needed, such as prestige and various aspects of talent. For example, the great elder had already touched the threshold of the emperor god, but he took the wrong path. Unless he could start over, it would be difficult for him to become an emperor god. Just this point alone was enough. Wasn't becoming an emperor god more important than the medicine god's body? Therefore, when they saw the reincarnation grass, they all wanted to have a look. Under the lead of the little medicine fairy, they passed through the passage and came to the area where the statue was. If they wanted to see the medicine god, they had to pass through the statue. After all, the statue stood in the central area, and if they wanted to go deeper, they had to pass through this area. When they came to this area, Yi Tianyun stopped and did not continue to walk forward. Hey, wait a minute. Yi Tianyun reached out and motioned for them to stop. Lord Tianyun, what's the matter? The little medicine fairy also stopped and looked at him with a puzzled face. I feel that there is something wrong with this statue. I don't know if my feeling is wrong. Yi Tianyun said with a frown. Impossible. This is the statue of my ancestor. How could there be something wrong with it? Lord Tianyun, if you say that, it is disrespectful to our ancestor. The little medicine fairy's voice became serious, and she looked a little displeased. Her acting was so realistic that Yi Tianyun could not help but want to pat her thigh and praise her for her good acting skills. It seemed that she was really angry at him. After hearing this, the other elders were also very dissatisfied with Yi Tianyun. Yes. What are you saying? What's wrong with the statue of our ancestors? If you say that, you are being disrespectful to us. That's right. Heavenly Cloud Territorial Lord, even if you're powerful, you can't be so rude. What's wrong with our ancestors' statue? Could it be that it's fake? One by one, the elders gathered around, all wanting Yi Tianyun to give an explanation. What happened? At this moment, Yarrow Yuli walked out. Seeing the group of elders here, he felt very puzzled. But when he saw Yi Tianyun, his face darkened and he blurted out, "It's you." These words immediately attracted the attention of Yi Tianyun and the little medicine fairy. The other elders did not feel that anything was wrong. What me? Elder, have you seen me before? Yi Tianyun squinted at him. There was no doubt that a very simple sentence had exposed him. The little medicine fairy also heard it. She was very sure that Yarrow Yuli could not have seen Yi Tianyun. Even if he had heard of Yi Tianyun, it was impossible for him to have seen Yi Tianyun. Even if he had really seen Yi Tianyun, what did he mean by shouting these words? Just these two simple words allowed her to understand a lot of things. In her heart, she believed Yi Tianyun's words a little more. She felt that Yarrow Yuli had really been replaced. I haven't seen you before, but I have seen you on some records. You are the domain lord of the three realms, quite famous. I didn't expect that the domain lord of the three realms would also come to our medicine temple as a guest. Yarrow Yuli smiled slightly, and his expression returned to normal. Everything was so watertight. It seemed that he had explained it, but he could not hide the surprise he had before. So that's how it is. Yi Tianyun smiled indifferently and shifted his gaze to the statue and said, "What I want to say is very simple. I feel that something is wrong inside the statue, like there is a special kind of energy fluctuation inside the statue, like there is a special kind of energy fluctuation. I am very sensitive to the fluctuations of the type of array, so I feel that there seems to be some array inside the statue." Impossible. There is no array inside our statue. It is nonsense. If we carve an array on the statue of our ancestors, it is a blasphemy to our ancestors. Immediately, an elder retorted, thinking that Yi Tianyun's words were very unreliable. On the other hand, Yarrow Yuli's face became very ugly. "Oh, I have this kind of feeling. If you don't believe it, I just mentioned it casually. Under normal circumstances, there is no array inside the statue, and it is indeed a kind of blasphemy. But I feel that there is an array. If you don't believe me, you can explore it." Yi Tianyun shrugged. "Can the domain lord of Tianyun guarantee it?" Little Medicine Fairy said sternly, "This is a kind of blasphemy. If there is no array, you are being rude to our ancestors. Of course, I can guarantee it. If you don't believe me, you can go and see for yourself." Yi Tianyun gestured for them to explore it. "Okay, I will go and explore it now." Little Medicine Fairy was ready to fly up to explore the statue. At this time, Yarrow Yuli quickly stopped in front of Little Medicine Fairy and said sternly, "How dare you? I didn't expect the domain lord of Tianyun to be such a person. Princess Little Medicine Fairy, you must not pay attention to him. This is a kind of blasphemy to our ancestors. The ancestors' statue cannot be touched. It is a kind of blasphemy to our ancestors." Looking at Yarrow Yuli's nervous expression, Yi Tianyun wanted to laugh. He said it so righteously, but in the end, he just didn't want others to know. Little Medicine Fairy's heart was cold. From Yarrow Yuli's words, he was completely sentenced to death. Even if she didn't explore his soul, she was sure it was true. After all, she already knew that there was a sound transmitting array above. Looking at Yarrow Yuli's nervous expression, there must be something fishy. "Third Elder, I don't intend to touch it. I just want to fly up and check. If there is no array, the domain lord of Tianyun must apologize." Little Medicine Fairy said sternly, "I will go up and check. I have always been in charge of this place." Yarrow Yuli didn't dare to let Little Medicine Fairy go up. Seeing that she insisted on going up, he could only stop her. "There is no need to trouble the Third Elder. I brought him here, so I will handle it." Little Medicine Fairy said nothing and turned to fly up to the statue. Yarrow Yuli hurriedly wanted to stop her, but it was too late. Little Medicine Fairy quickly flew up and explored all the way up. Finally, she came to the back of the sound-transmitting array. When she was about to break it, Yarrow Yuli stopped in front of her and said in a deep voice, "Princess Little Medicine Fairy, it seems that you don't believe me. As the guardian of the ancestors' statue, I must be the one to check." Chapter 1764. Third Elder, you are indeed the manager of the statue, but this statue doesn't belong to you. It belongs to everyone. Just because you are in charge of this place doesn't mean that you are in charge of everything. Can't I check the statue now? Little Medicine Fairy's tone was extremely cold. She was already convinced that Yarrow Yuli was the evil emperor. However, there was no evidence, and the other elders didn't believe it, so they had to do what they had to do. "No, this is blasphemy against the ancestors." Yarrow Yuli refused to give in and stopped Little Medicine Fairy from checking the statue. "What a joke. I just want to check the condition of the statue. Why can't I check the status of the statue for the ancestors? I believe that all the elders here understand that we respect the statue very much, but it doesn't mean that touching it will be blasphemous." "Third Elder, you are wrong." Little Medicine Fairy's tone was cold as she stared at him. "Yes, Third Elder, if Princess Little Medicine Fairy wants to check, then let her check. After all, Heavenly Cloud Domain Lord was brought here by Princess Little Medicine Fairy. It would be best for her to solve this matter. Checking the ancestors' statue is far from blasphemy, right? So, every time the disciples come up to touch it and pray, it is blasphemy? That's right, Third Elder has gone too far. The ancestor built this statue not only to let us remember it, but also because he wanted to be with us forever." All the elders were puzzled. Even if Yarrow Yuli was the guardian, he couldn't say that, right? It was like an alchemy boy in a herb garden. He could always manage the herb garden, but the elders couldn't even go in and pick the spirit herbs. Yarrow Yuli's expression turned ugly. He didn't expect to be forced to this extent. He could only say in a deep voice, "All right, Princess Little Medicine Fairy, feel free to check it." "Thank you, third elder." Little Medicine Fairy began to check along the way and quickly locked onto the area behind the third elder. The area where Yarrow Yuli was standing was right in front of the sound transmission array. It was obvious that he deliberately blocked this area. "Third elder, please step aside. There is still one place that we have yet to inspect." Little Medicine Fairy signaled Yarrow Yuli to leave. "Okay." Yarrow Yuli stood to the side. He could not stop Little Fairy Medicine from inspecting, otherwise, he would feel guilty. He only hoped that the Little Medicine Fairy wouldn't be able to find out. With so many concealing formations there, as long as they weren't heaven-defying, they could be shielded. But the Little Medicine Fairy had already seen it. How could she not sense it? "Hey, there's some energy fluctuation here." Little Medicine Fairy stretched out her hand and poked forward. With a dong sound, that fragile surface was blasted apart, revealing the sound transmission array inside. Before Yi Tianyun left, he had specially rearranged it, making it look exactly the same as before. Thus, this was the second time he had destroyed it. What? There really is a formation inside. After a brief inspection, they could clearly see that there was a sound transmission array inside the statue. "Third elder, why is there a sound transmission array here?" Little Medicine Fairy turned her head to look at Yarrow Yuli and said in a deep voice. Yarrow Yuli also revealed a shocked expression. Looking at the sound transmission array, he said, "I don't know. All this time, I have only done simple maintenance and did not carefully inspect the interior. I didn't expect that there would be a formation inside. Could it be that it was set up by our ancestor?" Yi Tianyun sneered as he watched from below. This heretical emperor was really good at acting. Did he think that he could completely clear his name just like that? "Third elder, it seems that your memory is a little off. This statue was erected after our ancestor passed away to commemorate him. At that time, our ancestor had already left, so how could we have set up a sound transmission array?" "What a joke!" Little Medicine Fairy sneered. She had already begun to be vigilant and was prepared to seize it at any time. From the correspondence of the information, it was extremely inaccurate. No hall master would erect a statue for themselves. This was similar to Yi Tianyun, who would not allow others to erect statues for him. Only those who were extremely fond of authority would erect statues for their people to revere. At least, the ancestor of the Sacred Medicine Hall did not like this. It was only after he left that the next hall master would erect a statue. No matter what, the ancestor was a god emperor, so it must be remembered. Therefore, they specially took a treasure left by the ancestor and embedded it in the statue, so that it could emit the majesty of a god emperor. But now, Yarrow Yuli said that it was left by the ancestor. Wasn't this a joke? It was not that Yarrow Yuli said something wrong, but when he took over Yarrow Yuli's body, there was a slight deviation in his memory, so he did not devour all of his memories. "I remembered wrongly, but I really don't know what happened." Yarrow Yuli smiled. "If it wasn't for Princess Little Medicine Fairy, I really wouldn't have known that there was a sound transmission array here." "Third elder, that's not quite right. You have always been in charge of the statue, and after it was built, you have been in charge of it. You don't even know that." Little Medicine Fairy looked at him coldly and said, "I suspect that this sound transmission array was set up by you." Yarrow Yuli, also known as the Evil Emperor, would be a fool if he still did not know the situation. However, he did not panic and maintained a calm expression. "Princess Little Medicine Fairy, don't you think that's too much? What evidence do you have to prove that I set up this sound transmission array?" Yarrow Yuli said in a deep voice. "I have been here to protect the statue. How can you say that I set it up? That's too unjust. Besides, I have been out. Maybe it was another elder or someone else who set it up. Isn't it too presumptuous to say that I set it up? The evil emperor would definitely not admit it easily. Whoever admitted it would be a fool. The other elders began to whisper. That was true. Yarrow Yuli did not stay here all the time, so there was still a chance for others to set it up. But what was the point of setting it up? However, many people had already sensed a little. With this sound transmission array, wouldn't it be the same as using the ancestors' statue to transmit messages? While they were making all sorts of guesses, Yi Tianyun stood up and said, "Eh? Third elder, why do I sense a familiar aura from your body? What aura?" Yarrow Yuli looked over impatiently. Right now, he wanted nothing more than to slap Yi Tianyun to death. Right now, he was stuck between a rock and a hard place, and he had to use all sorts of methods to cover it up. Especially when it came to transmitting messages. He was afraid that he would not be able to do it in the future. The aura of the evil emperor. I sense the aura of that old rival from your body. May I know what's going on? Yi Tianyun directly threw out a heavy bomb that completely exploded among the elders. Chapter 1765. What did you say? The elders looked at Yi Tianyun in shock. They couldn't believe what Yi Tianyun had just said. They could sense the evil emperor's aura from Yarrow Yuli. What was going on? Could it be that Yarrow Yuli had a great battle with the evil emperor? But that didn't make sense. If there had been a great battle, they would know. I mean, I sensed the evil emperor's aura from your third elder. It seems to come from a deeper area, such as here. Yi Tianyun pointed at his head and smiled. It should come from his soul. I wonder if the third elder had a great battle with the evil emperor recently. Bullshit. Yarrow Yuli said angrily. I have been staying here all this time. Where did the evil emperor's aura come from? We kindly invited you here, but you are slandering me. Slander you? Yi Tianyun said indifferently. I'm just telling the truth, just like the sound transmission array. I sensed something strange here, so I told you. In the end, it really happened. Now I sensed my old friend's aura, and it came from your soul. Usually, when this happens, you are either being controlled or possessed. I wonder which one you are. Everything was under his control. He had planned everything in detail before he came here. The evil emperor was definitely resisting and denying everything, but it was meaningless. Everything was going according to his plan, and everything was progressing smoothly. Speaking of which, the fact that our ancestor is able to release the divine decree all this time. I feel like it has something to do with this voice transmission formation. Perhaps someone is controlling the voice transmission formation, pretending to be our ancestor and giving us orders. The manager of this place is the third elder. The Heavenly Cloud Territory Lord said that you have the evil emperor's aura, and the evil emperor told us to avoid the evil spirit race. As the manager, we don't know that there is a sound transmission array here. If we check it carefully, we can sense it. We respect the evil emperor, so we don't check it. As the guardian, we don't know that we are being manipulated. How do you explain that? The elders who had heard the divine edict stood up one by one. Only a few elders with high positions knew about the divine edict. They began to have great doubts about Yarrow Yuli. You actually believe the words of an outsider? Can you believe it? He wants to divide us and destroy our relationship. Yarrow Yuli stared coldly at Yi Tianyun and said, if you don't have any proof, then you are slandering me. It was also an insult to the medicine god shrine. If you don't give us an explanation, our medicine god temple will be irreconcilable with the three realms god realm. Evidence? There's no evidence. Yi Tianyun said calmly, I'm just saying that I'm relying on my intuition. I can sense the evil emperor's aura from your body. I don't have any proof. You don't have any evidence, yet you're still making irresponsible remarks. Yarrow Yuli flew into a rage and said, what do you take this place for? Food can be eaten indiscriminately, but words can't be said indiscriminately. You slandered me. If you don't give me an explanation today, don't even think about leaving. Even if you are the lord of the Tianyun region, you have to stay here. Otherwise, people will think that the medicine god shrine is really weak. In a few words, he turned the spearhead to Yi Tianyun, which was really sharp. Especially the last sentence, it stung their hearts. For a long time, the outside world had an extremely bad evaluation of the medicine god shrine. After all, the evil spirit race had invaded for so long, but they didn't do anything and were even called cowards. If people said that the reason why the medicine god shrine remained neutral was that they were too weak, it would be even more shameful, which was not the result they wanted. Yi Tianyun's expression was indifferent. I don't have any evidence, but I can check your soul. If not only will I give you the reincarnation grass with both hands, but I will also let the three realms god realm become your vassal. What do you think of that? Originally, some elders wanted to say a few more words, but when they heard Yi Tianyun's words, they were all dumbfounded. If not, then they would really get a lot of things. Not only the reincarnation grass, but also the three realms god realm. This was really a big deal. Not to mention anything else, just the reincarnation grass alone was enough to pay the price. No matter what, this thing was extremely precious. It was not a big deal to check the condition of the soul. Third elder, please examine it. If it's not, then we'll have made a huge profit. In theory, just the reincarnation grass alone is worth paying a corresponding price. They all nodded. Originally, they were a little suspicious of the third elder, but now they all turned their attention to the reward. Although they suspected Yarrow Yuli, they still didn't believe that Yarrow Yuli was controlled by the evil emperor. Yarrow Yuli's expression immediately became ugly. He shouted, "How can this be? This is a matter of dignity. How can we put down our dignity just because of the reincarnation grass? You can do it, but I can't. The ancestors have said before that we can have no resources, but we can't have no dignity." Yarrow Yuli's words made sense. At the end of the day, he was unwilling to let his soul be checked. All the elders exchanged glances and agreed with one another. Searching one's soul was indeed very rude. Is it really because of your dignity, or are you really controlled? Yi Tianyun sneered. Now is not a matter of dignity, but whether my words are right or not. Don't fool people with these words. Let the drug deity check it. If not, I will pay the corresponding price. Yi Tianyun's words immediately woke up the elders present. The point was indeed to check whether Yarrow Yuli was controlled, not the problem of dignity. If they didn't check it, then there was a ghost. Well, let me check it. At this time, a figure walked in from outside the door. This person was Little Medicine Fairy's father, the drug deity. The drug deity walked out of the passage with an indifferent expression, but his eyes were fixed on Yarrow Yuli. The drug deity hadn't appeared for so long, not because he was busy, but because he had been watching from the side. Now that this situation had occurred, he had to stand up. He was even more shocked about the sound transmission array. He didn't expect to find it after praying for so long. "Medicine God Temple Master, even you don't believe me?" Yarrow Yuli shouted hysterically. This is not a matter of believing or not, but a matter of making the Tianyun Domain Lord give up. Can't you let me check it? The drug deity stared at him with a burning gaze. He had some doubts in his heart. When he saw the sound transmission array, he had doubts. Even if Yi Tianyun didn't say it, the drug deity wanted to check it. Yarrow Yuli closed his eyes in pain. After a moment, he slowly opened his eyes and said, "Come on, I hope that after the check, the Medicine God Temple Master will give me justice. And the Tianyun Domain Lord, I hope you can remember your promise." Chapter 1766. Yarrow Yuli directly stood to the side and motioned for the drug god to come and investigate. He looked sanctimonious and was not afraid of inspection at all. He had a feeling that he was innocent and was not afraid of anyone's inspection. Just now, he had been refusing as if it was for his own dignity. This was enough to deceive the other elders, but it was meaningless to Yi Tianyun. The appraisal eye would not be the least bit false. No matter how deep it was hidden, it could be detected. If he could not detect it, there was only one possibility, and that was that his level was not high enough. Now that his level was maxed out, if he could not even see this, then he was not a product of this world. Don't worry, as long as it's not, I will fulfill my promise. You can rest assured about this. Yi Tianyun smiled faintly. He could not fulfill his promise. After all, he would not make a mistake. Then, he motioned for the drug god to go forward and investigate. Everything was for the drug god to investigate. If the drug god chose to cover up, then he had nothing to say. If he chose to cover up, Then he would not fulfill his promise and would personally verify it. Of course, he believed that the drug god would never cover up. How could he cover up such a big traitor here? Unless the drug god was also from the evil spirit race. However, the appraisal eye did not show that he was from the evil spirit race. Third elder, if you really are fine, I will seek justice for you. The drug god slowly walked in the direction of the third elder. The other elders nodded silently. If it was really not, then they would also stand up for the third elder. It was just that they had to get an explanation now. Yi Tianyun's previous judgment was too accurate. He could even sense the sound transmission array. They just did not know if it was accurate this time. If it was accurate, then, the drug god came in front of the third elder and reached out to grab the third elder's head. To investigate the state of the soul, he naturally had to touch the head. When he was about to grab it, Yarrow Yuli suddenly showed a ferocious expression and roared, "Go to hell." In the next second, Yarrow Yuli's body rapidly expanded, and the power that had long been compressed to the extreme was released from his body. Boom! A terrifying energy explosion swept out in all directions, and the first to bear the brunt was the drug god. The closer he was, the more he had to bear. Everything happened so suddenly that almost no one could react, including Yi Tianyun. Yi Tianyun's appraisal eye was able to see it in advance, but Yarrow Yuli's self-detonation didn't even need to accumulate energy, it could erupt immediately. This was most likely a great formation that had been buried long ago. It could instantly trigger its strongest effect and detonate him. Without a doubt, this was a move that he would use when he was seen through. In any case, if he were to be caught, he would be killed, tortured, or soul-searched. Thus, he might as well just bury the formation in his body. Before he was caught, he would immediately self-destruct. At that moment, Yi Tianyun reacted quickly and cast his strongest skill, super healing for all and invincibility for himself. At the same time, he grabbed the little medicine fairy and dodged to the side. Of course, he couldn't hide too far away and could only use his body to block for the little medicine fairy. As for the others, he couldn't block it and could only help the little medicine fairy block it. After all, the little medicine fairy was the closest to him, and her cultivation was relatively low, so her defense was weaker. And the most crucial point was that she was important enough. Protecting the little medicine fairy was equivalent to an absolute alliance. Seal. The drug god's speed was equally astonishing. With a backhand slap, a terrifying power was released from his body and enveloped Yarrow Yuli's body. However, he wasn't fully prepared. The power that had just been sealed was instantly broken, and the released power continued to sweep out in all directions. The rest of the elders had a few more seconds to react and immediately released their strongest defense to block this wave of attack. However, the power of this explosion was too strong. It was unknown how many energy crystals the evil emperor had buried in Yarrow Yuli's body. After the explosion, the most terrifying effect was released in one go, and it was definitely equivalent to the strongest attack of a demigod emperor. This was with a very strong area of effect, and the overall power was even more terrifying. The drug god, who was standing at the front, was directly blown away, and the situation was unknown. As for the other elders, even if they raised their defenses, their shields were blasted open, and they were sent flying in all directions. Obviously, this was no longer the power of an ordinary self-explosion. With the addition of the hidden power inside, the effect was naturally different. It was a pity that they couldn't set up a formation here, or the power would be even more terrifying. Yi Tianyun directly used his body to block it, and along with the terrifying explosion, he was all blocked outside. The power of this explosion was not bad, but it was within the heavenly god level, not above the heavenly god level. Therefore, they were all blocked outside. The little medicine fairy was well protected, and she was not affected by this terrifying power. After a long time, the explosion finally subsided. There were a few more cracks inside the hall, but overall there was not much of a problem. This medicine god temple had been reinforced, and it was reinforced by a god emperor. The power of this explosion was very terrifying, but against the strong reinforcement, it could only cause a few more cracks, and nothing was damaged. As for the statue, there was also no problem. The ancestor's statue must have been reinforced in all kinds of ways, so there was naturally no problem. Just like the temple, there were a few more small cracks, but not too big. On the other hand, many elders were blasted out, and basically all were injured. As for the drug god, half of his body was blown up. His cultivation was very strong, but without special preparation, half of his body was still blown up. Fortunately, it was not a big problem to be able to recover from this. In particular, the super strong healing light descended and quickly healed their injuries. The drug god's body recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. The drug god's recovery ability was already terrifying, not to mention the addition of Yi Tianyun's healing power. Father. After the little medicine fairy reacted, she hurriedly ran to the drug god's side to check on her father's injuries. Yi Tianyun looked around and noticed that only he and the little medicine fairy were still standing in the room. The rest were all lying on the ground, looking a little too horrible to look at. Fortunately, only a small number were seriously injured. After all, most of the damage was taken by the drug god. At that moment, the drug god knew that he had to bear the damage, or the little medicine fairy behind him would be injured. However, Yi Tianyun protected him better. Not to mention being injured, not even a hair on his body was injured. Chapter 1767. The violent explosion overturned the place and sent many of the disciples flying backward. Just a slight fluctuation was enough to send those disciples who were climbing the stairway to heaven flying down. Especially from the high stairs, they rolled down fiercely, looking very embarrassed. Fortunately, there was no serious situation. After all, it was just a little aftermath. As for those who were a little further away, they could feel the terrible explosion, which made them look at the medicine god temple in shock. Most people clearly felt a fierce vibration under their feet, but they didn't know what happened. What's going on? Why is there such a violent energy fluctuation coming from the medicine god temple? What happened over there? Yes, what's going on, but we can't go up and find out. What happened? Let's go back and see. Those who could go back immediately, those who couldn't go up could only stay below the medicine god temple and watch the situation. In the medicine god temple, the situation has become very bad. One by one, the elders got up from the ground. They are not worried about their injuries now. More of their faces are extremely ugly. It can be said that they are extremely ugly. Their hearts are also extremely angry. That is an extreme kind of anger towards the evil spirit race. Although it was not found out in the end, Yarrow Yuli directly exploded. There is no need to explain anything. It is clear that he was controlled and possessed. If not, why did Yarrow Yuli self-destruct? Moreover, he deliberately waited for the drug god to come over, and then exploded fiercely, blowing the drug god away. It is very obvious that the evil emperor knows that he can't escape. With so many elders and the drug god here, it is impossible to escape. Even if his original body is here, I am afraid that it will be difficult to escape. With so many experts here, how can he escape alone? For this reason, he immediately chose to self-destruct. Before destroying this body, he must seriously injure the drug god. A little wrong. Yi Tianyun shook his head. His plan was to surround a little more elders, so that the evil emperor can't escape even if he has wings. Who knew that the evil emperor had already prepared to self-destruct, injuring many elders. Of course, they were only injured, none of them died, thanks to the protection of the drug god. Otherwise, several elders would have been killed. After all, most people did not react, thinking that Yarrow Yuli was really very innocent. There would be no problem. Who knew that there was really a problem? If the drug god hadn't fought for those few seconds, they would have been finished. However, if Yi Tianyun hadn't gathered so many elders, the vile emperor would have been able to escape. Perhaps he would have been able to escape from this region and self-detonate. That would have been fun. The elders here could still hold on for a while. The disciples outside were all annihilated in the face of such a terrifying explosion. Therefore, such a situation was still within the acceptable range. Evil spirit race, I will kill you. I never thought that I would have been deceived by the evil spirit race for so long. It's all that damned evil spirit race, bastard. The elders roared hysterically one after another, but it was meaningless. In their eyes, they were like defeated soldiers, nothing more than complaints. After being toyed with for so long, it was already enough of a failure. Most importantly, they had always believed in the divine decree of their ancestor. making them think that their ancestor was always by their side. Who knew that everything was fake, and that it was just a sinister method of the evil emperor. I really didn't expect that my wisdom would be destroyed in an instant. The medicine god leaned against the wall, his expression filled with a sense of vicissitudes, and even more so a sense of frustration. All along, he had followed his ancestors' instructions and remained neutral. Now, it seemed that they were too naive. They didn't even know that their own elders were being controlled. This was undoubtedly the biggest failure, a complete failure. At this time, the medicine god no longer wanted to be the hall master. He felt that he no longer had the qualifications to be the hall master. He was inferior to his own daughter. In my opinion, you no longer have the qualifications to be the hall master. This position of hall master should be handed over to you. Xiana, you are still a little more sensible. Even if the ancestor had such an order, you still chose to refute it. You are much bolder than me. I also want to send out experts to fight and exterminate those evil spirit race. The medicine god shook his head and sighed, feeling a little sad. In his heart, he did indeed want to bring all the experts out to exterminate the evil spirit race. However, the ancestor had passed down a divine decree, saying that they could not participate in the battle and could only remain neutral. At that time, how aggrieved was his heart, but in the face of the ancestor's divine decree, he could only choose to obey. Father, don't talk nonsense. You have been leading the medicine god temple well. If you hand it over to Xiana, she will definitely not manage it as well as you. Xiana knows that you are very sad, but things have already happened, and the medicine god temple needs your leadership to make up for the mistakes of the past. The little medicine fairy did not choose to become the hall master. She knew that she was not mature enough. The current medicine god temple still needed the medicine god to oversee it, and even more needed him to preside over the overall situation. The mistakes of the past were in the past, and it was not too late to make up for it now. Sigh. The medicine god sighed deeply again, turning his head to look at Yi Tianyun, who was constantly treating them. His eyes were filled with gratitude. If it wasn't for him, I'm afraid we would really be finished, and it would have ended in my hands. If the ancestor really comes back, even if I die, I will not be able to face the ancestor. If it wasn't for Yi Tianyun discovering the situation in advance, they would have continued to make a big mistake. In other words, the medicine god temple had completely become the evil spirit race's possession. The second battle of the divine emperors was coming, and if they still did not make a move, it was very likely that the evil spirit race would completely occupy this place. At that time, the medicine god temple would be meat on the chopping board, at their mercy. Yes, it's all his help, we owe him a great favor. The little medicine fairy now looked at Yi Tianyun in a completely different way. Her previous dissatisfaction with Yi Tianyun's infiltration had long since disappeared, replaced by gratitude. This was basically a life-saving grace, and it was the grace of saving the entire medicine god temple. After all, if they continued to let it go, the evil emperor would gradually control this place and use the statue to convey divine decrees to them. When the war between the divine emperors began, they would also give them orders to go out and kill other divine realms. At that time, they would have to obey the orders of their ancestors, and they would certainly have to obey. There was no way to resist. It could be said that Yi Tianyun had changed everything, and changed everything about the medicine god temple in the future. Chapter 1768. While Yi Tianyun was healing them, the evil emperor let out a scream. The evil emperor covered his head and slammed into the wall. With a bang, a large part of the wall collapsed, giving the other evil spirit gods a fright. The evil emperor suddenly slammed into the wall. It was very strange. Lord Evil Emperor, what's going on? They gathered around, not knowing what had happened. Damn it, we lost the medicine god temple. The evil emperor crawled up from the ground and covered his head with one hand. His face was frighteningly pale. It must be very painful to lose a part of one's soul, as if one's body had been torn into several pieces. We lost the medicine god temple? The evil spirit gods' faces changed. The medicine god temple was a big trump card for them, but now it was gone. It was a big loss. Yes, we lost the medicine god temple. It's the Tianyun Lord's fault again. Why does this guy always ruin my plans? It was the Heaven Creator's plan, and now it's the Medicine God Temple's turn. The evil emperor slapped the damaged wall next to him. With a bang, another large part of the wall collapsed. I lost such a powerful trump card. I wanted to ask them to help me clean up the other divine realms. I didn't expect it to be the Tianyun Lord. The other evil spirit gods were also furious. Yi Tianyun had ruined so many of their plans. Huan Mingyu was kidnapped, the Heaven Creators were rescued, and the Medicine God Temple's plan was ruined. These were all powerful trump cards, but they were all gone. The Medicine God Temple was their trump card. It could make them fight each other while the evil spirit race was fine. It was really a good deal. However, Yi Tianyun had freed the evil emperor a little later. The evil emperor wanted to rush to the divine realm of the three realms. However, the divine realm of the three realms had a shield, so he couldn't go in. He could only watch from the outside. Lord Evil Emperor, what should we do? The Medicine God Hall is one of our trump cards, a trump card that we can use to overturn them. Only then will we be able to conquer them with ease, the evil spirit god said. The evil emperor's gaze was extremely cold, and his pale face looked even more ferocious and terrifying. Evil Emperor looked at the door outside and said coldly, "Let's continue with the plan. We were originally just a little bit away from success. Who knew that something like this would happen? Once everything is set up, we will immediately begin the next round, the God Emperor battle. I will lead my race and bathe this world in blood. When that time comes, only the three realms God realm will be left. I don't believe that the shield will always be there. Yes, Your Majesty." One by one, they immediately went to make preparations and busied themselves with various matters. The great battle was about to begin. With Yi Tianyun's help, the elders recovered one by one, and all of them were very grateful to Yi Tianyun. It could even be said that they almost knelt down in gratitude. Yi Tianyun had helped them see through such a traitor. How could they not be grateful? Heavenly Cloud Territorial Lord, please come in. The drug god had recovered. He got up and came to Yi Tianyun's side, motioning for him to walk into the main hall. Yi Tianyun nodded his head and followed them into the room. The drug god had now recovered more than half of his state. Although he had not fully recovered, it was not difficult for him to recover according to his own ability. However, the anger and grief in his heart now were more painful and more difficult to cure than these injuries. After entering the main hall with him, the other elders also came in. Other than a few who were more seriously injured, the rest followed him in. Every one of them had a grave expression on their faces, and they hadn't said a word since they came in. When entering the main hall, after the drug god sat down, he motioned for Yi Tianyun to sit down as well. When the drug god sat down, the rest of the elders followed suit, which was obviously a kind of respect for Yi Tianyun. This time, the Medicine God Temple is grateful to Heavenly Cloud Territorial Lord for helping to see through the evil emperor's trick. Otherwise, we would have made more mistakes. When the God Emperor battle begins, I am afraid that we will be used as weapons. The drug god said with a serious expression, "Heavenly Cloud Territorial Lord, this time you saved the entire Medicine God Temple. As long as you like something in our Medicine God Temple, you can take it as our reward." The drug god offered a sky-high reward. As long as it was not too excessive, he would give it to Yi Tianyun. For example, taking away all the spiritual herbs was too much. Even if he saved the Medicine God Temple, he should not be so excessive. In fact, this time, I am not here for the reincarnation grass, but to form an alliance with the Medicine God Temple. Let's form an alliance and fight against the evil spirit race together. Yi Tianyun said, "I think there should be no difficulty in forming an alliance now, right? From today on, Heavenly Cloud Territorial Lord is our alliance leader, and the Medicine God Temple will follow his lead. As long as it is about the plan to fight against the evil spirit race, we will be the first to participate." The drug god immediately agreed and recognized Yi Tianyun as the alliance leader. It was not that the drug god was too straightforward, but that they had the same goal, so there was nothing to talk about. They directly formed an alliance and fought against the evil spirit race together. The rest of the elders nodded one after another, indicating that they agreed with the result of this discussion. That's good. There's nothing else for the time being. Yi Tianyun stood up, looked at them and said, "Next, it's up to you to deal with things on your own. I won't stay here. Heavenly Cloud Territorial Lord, you haven't chosen the reward yet. Whether it is a 10,000-year-old spiritual herb or a 100,000-year-old spiritual herb, as long as you like it, we can repay you." The drug god also stood up and said, "That's not necessary. I know that helping you see through the evil emperor is equivalent to saving the entire medicine god temple." Yi Tianyun said with a serious expression, "Compared with this, I think you need these spiritual herbs more. After all, when the time comes, you will all have to contribute. If you really want to repay me, I hope you can refine more spiritual herbs and distribute them to other divine realms, so that the overall strength can be improved." 2 rays of light burst out of the drug god's eyes, and he looked at him and said in a low voice, "Good. Since the alliance leader has said so, we will listen to the alliance leader's instructions. We will start to refine spiritual herbs on a large scale now, and the distribution will still be decided by the alliance leader. As for the other vassal forces, we will also join them, and we will also follow the orders of the alliance leader. We will not obey other orders." The medicine god temple had its own pride. Even if they did something wrong, they would only make up for it themselves, instead of apologizing to other forces one by one. Chapter 1769. Seeing the alchemy god's determination, Yi Tianyun naturally didn't say anything else. He nodded and said, "Although you have to listen to my instructions, I won't give you too many instructions most of the time. Just follow your own decisions. I won't take away the authority that belongs to you." What they were most worried about was being completely controlled when they joined the alliance. This was undoubtedly the worst part. Now that Yi Tianyun said this, they felt a bit more at ease. If Yi Tianyun was extremely overbearing and controlled everything by himself, then that was obviously not what they needed. Now that Yi Tianyun said this, they felt at ease. "We are very grateful that the alliance master is so understanding." The alchemy god smiled with relief. He thought for a moment and said, "Oh right, we are all controlled by the heretical emperor. I don't know if the subordinate forces are also controlled by the heretical emperor. Alliance master, I'll have to trouble you to go to their places and help investigate. Is that possible? I'm very happy to do so. In fact, my allies have all asked me to investigate them, and I've found many who are being controlled. This is a very tricky problem that needs to be solved." Yi Tianyun nodded. Even if they didn't ask, he would still want to help solve it. After all, this was a major issue. If an elder was being controlled, it would be quite serious. Then this will be, "Let me take him there. I'll also explain the situation here to them and let them join the alliance." At this time, the little medicine fairy stood up and planned to personally take Yi Tianyun to those forces. The alchemy god glanced at his daughter and finally nodded. "All right, you will lead the alliance master there." Yi Tianyun also looked at the little medicine fairy. He originally thought that the little medicine fairy would stay here and be busy with various things. He didn't expect that she would personally take him to the other forces. In fact, this matter could be handled by any elder, but for the little medicine fairy to personally take action was a bit too much. However, since the alchemy god didn't have any objections, then he didn't either. In any case, it didn't matter who accompanied him. Soon, the situation here was over. Since the little medicine fairy didn't have anything else to do, they could immediately set off. After all, it would take a long time for so many forces to make a round trip. Fortunately, the god of medicine temple had set up a teleportation array with them, so it was relatively easy for them to go there. They didn't need to fly there one by one, which would really waste a lot of time. "I didn't expect that you would personally bring me there. Actually, other people can come too," Yi Tianyun said as he walked with little medicine fairy. "I came out for my own sake," Yi Zichen said. Little medicine fairy took a deep breath and said with a smile, "The medicine god temple has completely changed. I have to relax no matter what. Years of repression are finally over. Although there is a new hatred, at least it is not the old medicine god temple. It seems that you're going to accompany me out for a stroll?" Yi Tianyun said with a smile. "Of course, I plan to take a look at your faction. Would you be willing?" The little medicine fairy revealed an enchanting smile. "No problem. As long as you like, You can stay as long as you want. Yi Tianyun shrugged. He couldn't wait for the little medicine fairy to live in the divine realm of the three realms. With her medicine god body, it would be absolutely amazing to cultivate spirit medicines. That's an exaggeration, but I'm really grateful to you. I'm very sorry for my rudeness before. The little medicine fairy stopped and slightly squatted in front of him to express her apology. Yi Tianyun reached out to stop her from squatting down. He said with a smile, "There's no need to be like this. I sneaked in and it's still rude. We're even. There's no need to apologize. No, this is completely different. Please accept my apology, Alliance Master." The little medicine fairy insisted on squatting down and finally knelt in front of Yi Tianyun as an apology. This was the greatest apology etiquette. A dignified heavenly deity doing this was naturally a very sincere apology. Yi Tianyun was quite helpless and could only accept her apology. He knew that if he didn't accept, the little medicine fairy wouldn't give up. After apologizing, she stood up again and said with a stern expression, "It's about time. We should go check them one by one and get rid of them one by one." Private matters were over, so it was time for official matters. Yi Tianyun nodded. He hoped that these powers wouldn't be too serious. Shortly after, the two of them went to the nearest power and easily arrived through the transportation formation. Then, they began to check. They discovered that the power of this power was actually not controlled. After informing the domain lord of this place about the alliance, they went to the next one. After checking all of them, they discovered that none of them were controlled. Then, they checked all of them one by one. After checking all of them, they discovered that none of them were controlled. They were completely clean and there were no important areas that were controlled. After Little Medicine Fairy brought Yi Tianyun to check all of the powers, she couldn't help but ask, "Is there really not a single one?" "There really isn't a single one. None of them were controlled." Yi Tianyun was also a little surprised. He didn't expect that the heretical emperor didn't do anything. That's really strange. I thought there would be a lot of people who were controlled. I was going to get rid of them all. Little Medicine Fairy shook her head. This must be because the heretical emperor thinks that controlling the medicine temple is enough. After all, they all follow you. If you don't do anything, they won't do anything. It's like they don't control those elders at all. Yi Tianyun thought for a moment and said his guess. So he didn't bother to control them, which led to this situation. Little Medicine Fairy thought for a moment and felt that it really made some sense. The medicine temple's order was the key, so it was meaningless to control others. As for the other forces in the divine realm, it was different. They were all independent existences and needed to be controlled. On the other hand, there was no need to control any of these forces. Controlling the medicine temple was equivalent to controlling them all. However, Yi Tianyun had destroyed the heretical emperor's plan. It seems so. If you hadn't come in time, these forces that followed us would have really suffered together. Little Medicine Fairy was a little scared. When she thought about it carefully, she was really a little scared. When the war broke out, it was mutual suicide. They were all forces in the same world. Although they were different forces, when facing foreign enemies, they were still on the same side. It was really tragic for their own people to fight their own people. Later, they were ruthlessly killed by the evil spirit race. By the time they realized it, it was already too late. At least in the first battle of the God Emperors, this situation didn't happen. Yi Tianyun also felt a little lucky. Chapter 1770. After inspecting all the factions, Yi Tianyun brought the Little Medicine Fairy back to the Three Realms Sacred Realm. The Little Medicine Fairy was not in a hurry to return. She planned to go to the Three Realms Sacred Realm with Yi Tianyun to see this mysterious existence. The Three Realms Sacred Realm was too famous, so much so that they all wanted to see the truth. They wanted to see what the situation was like inside the Three Realms Sacred Realm. It was blessed by the heavens, even the heretical emperor had suffered a setback, and a mysterious existence like Yi Tianyun had appeared. Thus, they all wanted to know about the Three Realms Sacred Realm, including the Little Medicine Fairy. This was also the reason why she came. She wanted to see what the Three Realms Sacred Realm was like. At the same time, it was also a way to relax. She did not want to return to the sacred medicine temple for the time being. That place had given her too much pressure. Under Yi Tianyun's lead, they soon arrived at the Three Realms sacred realm. After bringing them in, the little medicine fairy immediately wandered around, wanting to see everything inside out. As the Three Realms sacred realm was not very big, they could see everything in a short time. After looking around, the little medicine fairy sighed. It seems that there is not much difference between the Three Realms sacred realm. It is even worse than some of the rank 4 sacred realms. Even the rank 5 sacred realms are not that far off. After saying this, the little medicine fairy said awkwardly, "Sorry, I have always been too talkative, don't mind it. I am very clear about the Three Realms sacred realms situation. But I am already very satisfied with the steady improvement. I just need to slowly improve." Yi Tianyun smiled lightly and said, "I have so many powerful helpers, and so many powerful allies, it is already very good to have such achievements." Of course, Yi Tianyun knew about the Three Realms sacred realms situation. Even if they completed the mission and reached the rank 4 sacred realm, there was still a huge gap between them and the other rank 4 sacred realms. The gap was not in terms of experts, but in the cultivation environment and the layout of the various formations. The key was still the average cultivation of the disciples. They had to at least reach a certain level. Now that Yi Tianyun's side had low cultivation levels, Little Medicine Fairy would naturally say that they were weak. Indeed, the Sky Creator Clan and the Divine Spirit Clan are here to support you. As long as you have enough time, the Three Realms Celestial Realm will definitely be able to shake the world. The Little Medicine Fairy could also see it, but she was currently in a weakened state. Relying on a few experts was indeed very ferocious, but if those experts left, the ones left would be the weaker ones. It would be impossible for them to resist the experts. As a result, he still needed a lot of time to upgrade the Three Realms. For the time being, it was impossible to do so. Yi Tianyun knew this very well, and so did Shueyun and the rest. What they lacked the most right now was not resources, but time. That was how it was when one's foundation was too weak. Compared to those newly ascended factions, the Three Realms Celestial Territory's growth rate was already quite terrifying. It could even be described as shocking. However, at first glance, those experts felt that he was very ordinary. He wasn't as strong as they had imagined. In the outside world, it was rumored that there were a large number of experts in the Three Realms Divine Realm. Otherwise, how could the evil emperor be defeated? In fact, it was very weak. It could only be regarded as a very ordinary force. It should be said that there were a lot of experts, but they were all experts who joined, not the original experts. Yi Tianyun smiled slightly, looking at the many cultivators below, he was very pleased. Even if the current situation was relatively ordinary, for him, this was his force. No matter how weak it was founded by him. From the initial Jade Palace to the current level, it was already quite amazing. If it was any other force, it would be impossible to improve so quickly in such a short period of time. At most, it could only improve by a small level. What heavenly master, what heavenly god, it was impossible. Although the Three Realms Divine Realm could only be formed by others joining, at least it was qualified to let other experts join. "Hey, you have a lot of medicine fields here." Little Medicine Fairy noticed that there were a lot of medicine fields on Yi Tianyun's side. These medicine fields were all managed by Yu Kui, and the overall situation was very good. It's not as good as Little Medicine Fairy, but it's much better than most of the Little Medicine apprentices. Yes, but compared to the Medicine God Temple, it's far worse. Yi Tianyun said with a smile. If you could compare to our Medicine God Temple, you would have already reached the level of 5th grade God Realm. Little Medicine Fairy rolled her eyes at him, then immediately smiled and said, "How about this? Let me help you, how about it?" "How?" Yi Tianyun narrowed his eyes. "I'll help you a little transform the medicine field here, so that you can cultivate spirit herbs with twice the result with half the effort." Little Medicine Fairy flew down with a smile, and without waiting for Yi Tianyun's permission, she has already thrown several kinds of 10,000 years old spirit herbs into the medicine field one after another. They were a little reluctant, but under Little Medicine Fairy's coercion, they could only pour their essence into the medicine field, and at the same time constantly transform the condition of the medicine field here. In the blink of an eye, this area of the medicine field instantly emitted light. The spirit herbs above began to reveal a faint luster, looking full of vitality. It was as if this medicine field had suddenly risen by several levels, and the effects were very different. With a single glance, Yi Qianyun knew that the overall quality of the medicine field was rising at a rapid pace. In the future, the medicine field's effects would be doubled with half the effort. The time needed to cultivate the spirit herbs would be greatly reduced. However, this effect would only last for a short period of time, and it wouldn't be permanent. After all, this was only the effect of a few 10,000 years old spirit herbs, which was equivalent to pouring their essence into the medicine field. This way, the spirit herbs could absorb it bit by bit. But after the spirit herbs were absorbed, the medicine field would return to its original state, and there wouldn't be such an effect. For Yi Qianyun, at least for this period of time, he could greatly increase the growth of the spirit herbs. Many thanks, little medicine fairy. Yi Qianyun said gratefully. No need to be so polite, it's just a small matter. Little medicine fairy said with a smile. If you can stay here forever, that would be great. My 3 realms deity realm will immediately improve by a lot. Yi Qianyun casually made a joke. It's impossible to stay here forever, after all, there is still the medicine temple to manage. But I can come to help you manage the medicine field from time to time. Little medicine fairy continued to speak, which made Yi Qianyun happy. It would be great if she could come here once in a while. If that's the case, that would be great. Yi Qianyun's eyes lit up. He knew that little medicine fairy's promise was tantamount to repaying him in disguise. Chapter 1771. Completed special quest win over Medicine God Temple, received 100,000 compressed crazy point, completed Divine Realm Unification quest, received I am the Alliance Leader title. I am the Alliance Leader. When leading many allies to attack, the overall morale will be doubled, combat power will be doubled, and healing effect will be double. At this time, the special quest was finally completed, and he received a series of rewards. The effect of this title is not bad. Yi Qianyun's eyes lit up. Although it's only a 2-fold increase, it seems a bit insignificant. He has been increasing his cultivation by dozens of times. Only a 2-fold increase is obviously not enough, but this is the overall effect, it's different. It means that when he attacks with dozens of Divine Realm forces, these dozens of Divine Realm forces will have this effect. How can it not be terrifying? It is basically equivalent to doubling the effect. Next, little medicine fairy began to busy herself. She was responsible for a little rest of the medicine field, and also taught Yu Kui how to cultivate the medicine field. Compared to Yu Kui, little medicine fairy is naturally more capable. She can definitely manage the medicine field very well. If I can really live here, it will really be a leap. Yi Qianyun looked at the busy little medicine fairy. The effect of the medicine god's body immediately manifested here. The spirit herbs are dancing. They are very welcome to little medicine fairy. This made Yi Qianyun a bit envious. If he can have the medicine god's body, then he can take care of these spirit herbs. It will be a heaven-defying thing. All under his control. Think about it carefully. It is a bit scary. When he wanted to continue to observe, suddenly a message came. His face changed slightly, and quickly disappeared. The next moment, he appeared in the special room, and naturally, he saw Huan Mingyue's cold eyes. Did you succeed? Yi Qianyun was a little surprised. The overall time is less than 50 years, it has been successfully broken. It surprised him a bit. This time is beyond the expected time. Yes, it has been successfully broken. I completely got rid of that guy's control. Huan Mingyu did not have the slightest joy. This is not something to be happy about. From birth until now, there is nothing to be happy about, as if living in this world is a kind of pain. Looks like you can work with the sky creators to fill up the barrier. Yi Qianyun was very happy that Huan Mingyu could break free from the control. This way, they could fight together. That's not a problem, but there's a bigger problem now. Huan Mingyu said in a deep voice, after I broke it completely, I discovered that a portion of my memories had been sealed. Only by breaking it can I unlock all of my memories, the memories that were sealed by that guy. After hearing this, Yi Qianyun's expression became solemn. What is it? Right now, The evil emperor is just a small clone. His real body is sealed in a hidden region. Because the restrictions here are too strong, a body was created. Its true power is not inferior to the evil spirits. In fact, it is even stronger than the evil spirit. When Huan Mingyu said this, Yi Tianyun's expression became even more serious. As expected, this was a very serious matter. He did not expect that the evil emperor he had been fighting against was just a clone. The clone was already so terrifying. What would the real body be like? Even stronger than the evil spirits. Yi Tianyun recalled the power of the evil spirit's pearl. Just one pearl was already very terrifying. If all of them were gathered together, it would definitely be even more terrifying. Now that the evil emperor was even stronger than the evil spirits, wouldn't that be a huge crisis? Yes, even stronger than the evil spirits. Now, they are making arrangements in all aspects to suppress the power of this world so that his real body can appear. Then, the real battle between God Emperors will begin, Huan Mingyu said in a deep voice. Does that mean that the evil spirits are not going to save them? Yi Tianyun frowned. They will definitely save them, but I don't know when they will act. Now that I have recovered my memories, this is all I can remember. That power is really very terrifying. Huan Mingyue's expression was serious. This was not something that could be done casually. Then do you know where it is sealed? Yi Tianyun's gaze was fierce. Destroying it in advance had always been his plan. I don't know. It's just a very short memory. I can only say that they did not clean it enough. It seems that this guy does not even want the people around him to know where his real body is. Huan Mingyu shook his head. If only he could know. It would be best if he could destroy it before it descended. No wonder the evil emperor has always been so confident. So this is his confidence. Yi Tianyun thought of the evil emperor's anger and all the things he had endured. It seemed that everything was for the sake of waiting for his real body to appear. There was too little meaning to explode now. His real body could not come out. If they fought, the difficulty would greatly increase. Once his real body came out, he would not dare to say that he could completely suppress them, but at least his chances of winning would greatly increase. Yes, this is his confidence, the confidence to conquer this world. Huan Mingyu said in a deep voice. However, we still have to be wary of the situation with the evil spirit's pearl. The evil spirits are a big problem in the end. If it is snatched away, it will be a very troublesome problem. The evil emperor's real body is already troublesome enough. If the two of them join forces. Yi Tianyun nodded. He did not even need to think about it to know how terrifying it was. Originally, the evil spirits were enough to make them suffer. Now that there was the evil emperor, it was definitely heaven-defying. Perhaps the other parts will be snatched away, but mine will not be snatched away. Yi Tianyun was confident that he could protect the evil spirit's pearl. As for the other forces, it was really hard to say. Just as he was about to continue speaking, an urgent news came. Heaven Cultivation Godrealm and Yulong Godrealm were attacked by the evil spirit race. They have already started to openly snatch it. These two god realms both had the evil spirit's pearl. Now that they were being attacked, there was no doubt that they were targeting the evil spirit's pearl. What's wrong? Huan Mingyu immediately realized something from Yi Tianyun's expression. Could it be that they have started to attack? Yes, let's hurry over and provide reinforcement. I did not expect them to move so quickly. It seems like the battle between the god emperors is really about to start. Yi Tianyun's expression was grim. He immediately moved out with Huan Mingyu. Then, he immediately gave orders to the other powerful beings to prepare for reinforcements and immediately head over to the two god realms to provide reinforcement. In an instant, the Heaven Creator race and the other god realms were all mobilized. When the other god realms received the request for reinforcements, they immediately set off to provide reinforcements. Chapter 1772. Yi Tianyun immediately brought a group of experts and instantly arrived at Heaven Cultivation God Realm. The defense of Heaven Cultivation God Realm is worse than Yulong God Realm, so he brought people to support them first. As for Yulong God Realm, the other God Realm lords will immediately bring people to support them. Therefore, there is no need to worry about Yulong God Realm not having support. When he was teleported to the Heaven Cultivation Divine Realm, he immediately saw a large number of evil spirit race crazily attacking the Heaven Cultivation Divine Realm. Among them, a large number of evil god army turned into giant evil gods and attacked fiercely. Looking at the dense evil spirit race in front of them, it seems that it is really starting. This is something similar to Heavenly Divine Curtain. Yi Tianyun quickly noticed that this area is shrouded in dark energy, greatly enhancing their strength and weakening the strength of other cultivators. But compared to the real Heavenly Divine Curtain, it is a lot worse. The advantage is that the consumption is small, the coverage is large, and it can be improved a little. Yi Tianyun immediately released the experts he brought with him. When they came out, they were shocked when they saw the densely packed evil spirit race. The reinforcements had just arrived and they immediately rushed over. But in such a short period of time, the periphery of the heavenly cultivation celestial realm had completely fallen into the enemy's hands. Now the evil spirit race has attacked the inner areas, and there are heavy casualties. These evil spirit races seem to have gone mad, continuously attacking forward, completely unafraid of death. Such a crazy state scared them all. Even if the evil spirit race is crazy before, it is definitely not this crazy, one after another, not afraid of death. So much so that the Heaven Cultivation God Realm was broken, completely unable to stop them. In the state inside, the Heaven Cultivation God Realm suffered heavy casualties. Go! Yi Tianyun's eyes are cold, and without hesitation, he exchanged for a set of equipment for himself. Successfully exchanged for God Slayer set. God Slayer set requires Heavenly God Realm cultivation to equip. After wearing it, you can transform into God Slayer at any time, can control 10,000 best quality Heavenly Dao level longswords, and can use God Slayer sword formation, consumes 100 crazy point, increase power by 5 times, increase range by 10 times. Note, this will reduce the durability of the weapon. The God Slaying set was the upgraded version of the previous version. It could control many Heaven Dao grade longswords. This way, it could really achieve the effect of slaying gods. Although it wasn't an Empyrean spirit treasure, nor was it an Empyrean level sword, it was still at the Heavenly Dao level. Most importantly, it still depended on who the wielder was. The stronger the wielder was, even if it was a Heaven's Path sword, it would be able to slay gods and Buddhas alike. Summon him. Yi Tianyun waved his hand, and more than 10,000 Heaven's Path artifacts immediately gathered around him. Even if they had owners, it would be meaningless. They would be swiftly controlled by Yi Tianyun. This was the perverse part of a set. Even if it recognized its owner, it would be meaningless. It was still forcefully sucked over and turned into his own. This meant that if he continued to improve, even Empyrean spirit treasures would be forcibly summoned to attack him. No wonder he could only control Heavenly Dao level treasures even at this level. If he could control Empyrean spirit treasures, wouldn't that be heaven-defying? If the opponent's weapon was sucked over, what else could the opponent do? This was the power of it, making the opponent have no weapons to use. Of course, there were still many restrictions. For example, the set could only control sword-type treasures and not all levels of treasures. That would be heaven-defying. However, being able to control swords was already heaven-defying enough. Immediately, everyone saw a large number of swords gathering from all directions, surrounding Yi Tianyun. Kill. Yi Tianyun's eyes were cold, and he quickly sprinted forward. Along the way, the long sword kept flying, sweeping in all directions. Wherever it went, it was cut into countless pieces. Even the evil spirit race, who was not afraid of death, was scared out of his wits by the countless sword formations that were rushing over. Alliance leader is so powerful. They saw Yi Tianyun, who was leading the charge, killing countless evil spirit race along the way. It was as if he was harvesting leeks, wave after wave. In the blink of an eye, he had killed a wide bloody path. Even if those evil spirit races were not afraid of death, they did not want to be killed continuously. They could only flee to the side, but they did not flee outside. Instead, they fled inside. At the same time, they continued to choose the disciples of the divine realm to kill. It seemed that they had all been given a death order. They could only advance and not retreat. Even if they were all exterminated here, they could not retreat. Looks like none of you are afraid of death. Then let's all stay. Yi Tianyun did not know what their plan was, but as long as he saw the evil spirit race, he would not hesitate to control his flying sword to kill them. With a sweep, almost half of the countless evil spirit races were killed. If it was any other expert, even if they could easily kill them, they would still feel a little powerless against the many scattered evil spirit races. They would need more time to kill half of them. However, Yi Tianyun was like a harvester, and a large-scale harvester at that, sweeping away almost half of the evil spirit races in an instant. Under his control, tens of thousands of flying swords were like tens of thousands of sky sovereigns, crazily rushing out. No one could stop them. Die. A black light flickered, sweeping away a large group of evil spirit races. When the evil spirit races felt this power, they turned their heads in shock and saw a familiar face appearing in front of them. Empress, Empress. What responded to them was another ray of black light that blasted them into smithereens. Huan Mingyu also joined the battlefield. Facing these so-called clansmen, he mercilessly killed them. Although his methods were not as heaven-defying as Yi Tianyun's, he was still much more ruthless than other cultivators. It seemed like she really had an extremely deep hatred for the evil spirit race. He would kill as many as he could. At first, they thought that Huan Mingyu was an enemy. But now, it seemed that he was not an enemy, but one of their own. It was not only Huan Mingyu, even the Heaven Creator clan were ruthless and merciless, killing without mercy. It could be said that they were a group of madmen who were crazy for revenge. Under this group of madmen's battle, the battle quickly ended. The evil spirit race was completely annihilated. Not a single evil spirit race was still alive. They had all been turned into pieces or corpses. Is it over? When Yi Tianyun saw the corpses all over the ground, he immediately felt that something was wrong. At that moment, he saw streams of black qi floating up from the corpses and enveloping the area. It was getting denser, and at the same time, it was also enveloping other areas. This thing. Yi Tianyun's expression changed. This felt like the heavenly God screen, but it was even more thorough. Chapter 1773. Could this be one of the plans? Did the evil emperor do this on purpose? Yi Tianyun saw the black energy continuously surging into the void, and then, like paint, it continuously stuck to the void, causing the originally pitch-black void to become even darker. At the same time, a thick layer of darkness was continuously filling up the void, giving him a very bad premonition. Especially the suppressed energy that was transmitted down, it made him feel that it was extraordinary. The most important thing was that he was unable to purify it. It should be said that it was very difficult to purify it. No matter what he did, it was difficult to purify it easily. This was like an extremely stubborn paint that was stuck to the surface. If he wanted to remove it, he would have to spend a lot of effort. It would be fine if it was a small scale, but now it was a large scale coverage, and it was spreading even further, as if it was going to envelop the entire divine realm. Did you sense it too? Huan Mingyu flew to Yi Tianyun's side and said with a serious expression, "This is the black blood baptism. All of the energy in the bodies of the evil spirit races that have been killed will be released, and it will be difficult to remove. As more and more of this area is enveloped, this place will completely become an area that is extremely suitable for the evil spirit race to live in, which also means the power of the evil emperor's main body can be completely released here." Yi Tianyun's face darkened. Just as he had thought, as long as this continued, the power of the evil emperor and the others would be completely unleashed. It could be said that the evil spirit race had always been suppressed in this world, and they were unable to unleash more than half of their strength. Once they were completely released, a single evil spirit race would be able to fight against several cultivators. It was already terrifying enough to be suppressed, but now that they could become even stronger, it was extremely terrifying. In that case, the evil emperor's main attack now has the purpose of courting death. Yi Tianyun looked at the sky that was getting darker and darker, and the ominous premonition in his heart was getting stronger and stronger. To the evil emperor, these evil spirit races are nothing more than ants. If they die, then they die. Even if they die, they can still sacrifice their lives to envelop this area, so that they can unleash all of their power and not be suppressed. Huan Mingyu said in a deep voice, "Courting death is only one of them. The other is to obtain the evil spirit's orb. It'd be best if we can get the evil spirit's pearl. If we can't, then we'll have to sacrifice our lives. That's really a big move. Based on this situation, what area can it cover? Yi Tianyun looked at the darkness spreading in all directions. He couldn't estimate how far this thing could cover. Based on the number of people we've killed before, we should be able to cover at least a few god domains. If we include the situation at Yuelong's god domain, I'm afraid we'll be able to cover even more, Huan Mingyu said in a deep voice. Is there no way to quickly get rid of this black mist? Yi Tianyun asked. Yes, there is. It's an extremely powerful light attribute that can be fiercely restrained. However, the effect of the light attribute had to be at least at the 8th or 9th grade level. Otherwise, the effect would be negligible. After all, they gave up their lives. The stickiness is quite shocking. It won't be easy to get rid of it. Huan Mingyu suggested a solution, but it made Yi Tianyun feel even heavier. Even the light cores in the Three Realms God domain didn't have such a powerful level of power at the 8th or 9th grade. It wasn't that easy to reach this level. Light attribute cores were already extremely rare. It was needless to say how difficult it was to reach the 8th or 9th grade. Where can we find a light attribute core at the 8th or 9th grade? Yi Tianyun shook his head. It was as good as not saying anything. It's indeed difficult to find. That's why I said it's very difficult to deal with. Huan Mingyue's gaze was cold as he said, we can only pray that it spreads slightly smaller. Otherwise, we can only find other solutions. Currently, this is the only one I know of. I don't know anything else for now. Forget it, let's go and support Yuelong's god domain first. Yi Tianyun waved his hand and quickly teleported them to Yuelong's god domain. There was no time to lose. They could only rush over quickly. After teleporting, they immediately arrived at Yuelong's god domain. The moment they arrived, they saw the densely packed evil spirit race. They had practically surrounded Yuelong's god domain. Without a doubt, Yuelong's god domain had been breached. More than half of the originally indestructible defense had been destroyed just like that, and the internal fighting had already begun. At the same time, there were other god domain reinforcements. They had already rushed over and started fighting with the evil spirit race who were not afraid of death. It was quite troublesome to encounter the evil spirit race who were not afraid of death. Under such circumstances, many cultivators were truly afraid. The ones who were most afraid of fighting were those who were not afraid of death. They were not even afraid of being beaten or slashed. In the end, they even hugged each other and died together. How could they not be afraid? Even if they were attacked, when they were about to die, they would self-destruct or drag a few down with them. Fortunately, many cultivators still tried their best to resist. Even if they were afraid of this group of lunatics, they could only resist. After all, if they did not resist, then when the evil spirit race occupied this area, they would not be in a good state. Looks like Yuelong's god domain can still defend a few batches. Yi Tianyun rushed over and once again activated his god-slaying set. His flying sword crazily harvested in all directions, his speed even more astonishing than before. As he harvested, his experience increased greatly. It could be said that it was jumping crazily. From the looks of it, leveling up to a god stage shouldn't be a problem. Previously, when he harvested a large group of evil spirit races, coupled with the superposition of the experience card, his experience exploded in an instant. It was enough for him to level up to the late stage of the inferior heavenly god. However, he was not in a hurry to level up. It was still the same old routine, show weakness. When there was no need to level up, he would not be in a hurry to level up. Instead, when he needed to level up, he would fiercely level up. With the addition of Yi Tianyun, many evil spirit races were immediately collected. The cultivators at the side all looked over in shock. They saw an existence that was like a god of death descending, crazily killing his way through the entire area. Wherever he went, a ball of black blood would scatter in all directions. In the end, there was no change. Just like before, most of the evil spirit races were harvested by Yi Tianyun. At the same time, they all turned into a black mist that enveloped this space. It continued to spread out in all directions, covering deeper and deeper, and becoming more and more serious. "I've finally finished cleaning up this place." Yi Tianyun took a deep breath. Although killing was very satisfying and he could earn a lot of experience, when he raised his head to look at the pitch-black sky, the boulder that was pressing down on his chest did not drop. Chapter 1774. None of the other two divine realms fell. The evil emperor slowly opened his eyes. When he heard the news, he was very displeased and even a little angry. Yes, none of them fell. The main reason is that the Sky Cloud ruler is too domineering. He controls tens of thousands of flying swords, and each of them is terrifyingly powerful. They're all at the celestial venerable level. Along the way, most of the clansmen had been killed by him. It's safe to say that he can fight 10,000 people alone. None of us were enough to kill him. The elder who reported the news trembled slightly. He was extremely worried that the evil emperor would blame him. Although he wasn't involved, who could say for sure what the evil emperor's temper was like? If the evil emperor blamed him, the one who reported the news would have to suffer. That guy again. The evil emperor's gaze was incomparably cold. His ability is amazing. I expected it, but I didn't think it would be so easy. It seems that kid has made a breakthrough again. It's so easy to kill him. Well, it's fine. I can't get the evil spirit's pearl, but after a while, I'm sure that no matter what he does, it'll be a futile struggle in front of me. The evil emperor gripped the armrest of his throne and stared coldly ahead. Right now, he wasn't angry, only a desire to conquer. He wanted to conquer the entire world and make all life in this world bow down before him. Soon, soon. The more I kill, the sooner the war will come. The evil emperor's lips curved into a sinister smile. He looked frighteningly sinister. Lord Evil Emperor, when your true body appears, it will be the time of their death. Lord Evil Emperor is invincible. The elders below shouted one after another. They all knew what the evil emperor meant. All of this was part of the plan. However, it was a pity that they couldn't get the evil spirit's pearl. As for those who had sacrificed their lives, they didn't feel anything. The disciples of the Yulong God domain cheered as well. They were genuinely happy that they had been saved. This feeling of surviving a calamity was simply too wonderful. However, they didn't know that this was only one of the evil emperor's plans. The evil emperor was using them to keep sending them to their deaths. While he fought for the evil spirit's pearl, he could dye the area black with his own blood and turn it into his own domain. If he could snatch the orb, that would be perfect. The remaining evil spirit race would continue to attack the other forces. In the end, they would just be sending themselves to their deaths and tainting this world. Hence, Yi Tianyun wasn't happy at all. He used his appraisal eye to scan the surface, trying to find a weakness. The appraisal eye was indeed able to find out the weak point, which was that it required a light attribute attack of at least the 8th rank to destroy it. Another method was power, a power that could tear apart any void. By tearing apart this void world, it would be able to clear it out. However, this was as good as not saying anything. Ordinary tearing through the void was fine, but this void that was dyed black by the black blood was not so easy to tear through. If he wanted to tear it apart, he would need a terrifying amount of power. Most likely, he would need to reach the level of a half-step god emperor. With Yi Tianyun's current strength, he could tear it apart, but the area was still too small. By the time he finished tearing it apart, who knew how many years it would take? 8th rank light attribute core, where can I find it? Yi Tianyun's eyes flickered, thinking about how to find an 8th rank light attribute core. This thing was too rare, it was really difficult to obtain. It was impossible for the outer divine regions to have it, and he didn't know where in the inner divine regions to have it. He was now the alliance leader, and all forces were under his rule. However, from the current information, whether it was the Medicine God Palace or any other divine regions, there was no such thing. Just as he was thinking about it, an urgent news suddenly came: the other divine regions were being attacked. It seems that they are really going to fight. Yi Tianyun's eyes turned cold. Then let's fight. Since there's no way to stop them, I can only go along with it. No matter how many come, I'll kill them all and raise my cultivation. Even if the evil emperor himself comes, I won't be afraid. The next moment, he quickly teleported over to support the other divine regions. When he arrived, it was still the same as the previous forces. They were all surrounded by the evil spirit race and attacked fiercely. Soon, they broke through the defense. A group of death warriors, they couldn't stop them even if they wanted to. Kill. Yi Tianyun directly rushed up and started a fierce battle. The 10,000 flying swords were like a meat grinder, completely grinding them into a bloody mist. However, before he finished killing, another message came from the other divine regions asking for help. This time, it wasn't just one, but several messages asking for help at the same time. Are they really going to fight? As expected, the battle of the divine emperors has begun. It hasn't even been 100 years, and it's going to descend for real. Yi Tianyun roared and quickly swept over, crazily clearing the way. After clearing this divine region, he went to support the other divine regions. Although they were all in an alliance and would immediately go to support, facing a group of lunatics, it was quite difficult to quickly deal with them. Unless there was a very strong existence, it was impossible to get rid of them so easily. Even if it was the Jianfeng region master and the others, even if they could easily kill them, they couldn't do it as terrifyingly as Yi Tianyun. 10,000 flying swords were equivalent to the power of 10,000 heavenly venerables. That kind of killing speed was terrifying just thinking about it. However, there was only one Yi Tianyun. The other region master's killing speed was not slow, but compared to Yi Tianyun, they were still too far away. They were not on the same level. God-slaying set, this was no joke. In terms of group attacks, no one could compare to him. However, he still couldn't split himself and couldn't quickly support. The evil spirit race was really going all out this time. In the eyes of the other forces, they thought that the battle of the divine emperors had begun. However, they didn't know that this was just the beginning, a foreshadowing. Yi Tianyun didn't explain too much. No matter how he explained, it was meaningless. What he needed to do now was to get rid of these evil spirit race. And what he needed was more experience so that he could raise his cultivation. This was also the first time in history that he had killed so many evil spirit race members, and also the first time that he had obtained so much experience. However, as he killed more and more, his expression became more and more serious. He didn't know when the evil emperor's main body would descend, and where would he descend? The descending area is very likely to be in the cultivation heaven divine regions. Yi Tianyun made a rough estimation. The evil spirit's pearls couldn't be given up. The evil emperor would definitely descend to snatch them. After thinking about it, it seemed that after the matter here was settled, he would take advantage of the time before the evil emperor descended to collect the evil spirit's pearls of the other divine regions and let him collect them himself. Chapter 1775. With the help of many forces, the evil spirit race was quickly cleaned up. Almost 10 forces had been attacked. The range of their attack was still relatively wide, covering almost the entire divine realm. Yi Tianyun was already clear on this point. They were fighting in a circle, and after they died, they would gradually spread out in all directions, eventually enveloping the entire divine realm. We've finally finished cleaning up this time. Yi Tianyun inspected the forces one by one and saw that they were all heavily injured. The number of casualties was not small. He did not have 3 heads and 6 arms, otherwise the casualties would not have been so serious. This was war, and there would definitely be casualties in war. This was the beginning. If this continued, the number of deaths would be even more shocking. But this was reality, an unavoidable reality. The battle between the divine emperor would definitely descend. Unless the evil spirit race was completely exterminated, the battle between the divine emperor would continue. Or rather, even if they failed this time, there would still be a next time. As long as the evil spirit race still existed, it would continue. After patrolling around, Yi Tianyun returned to the camp hall that had been set up. The domain lords of the other forces gathered here all had solemn expressions on their faces. It was obvious that this battle had caused them to suffer many losses, and they were extremely furious at the evil spirit race. If it wasn't for the evil spirit race, how could such a situation have happened to them? Report the extent of the losses of each force. After Yi Tianyun sat down, he indicated for them to report the general situation and see what the details were. The heavenly cultivation divine realm has suffered heavy losses. This time, we lost 5 sky sovereigns, 1 heavenly god, and the divine lord. Yulong divine realm, the losses are average. We lost 1 heavenly god, 1 sky sovereign. They reported their forces one by one so that they could know each other's situation and plan who would be more important to protect. After reporting it one by one, the expressions of all the domain lords became even more solemn, and their eyes were filled with anger. That's roughly it. This time, the evil spirit race's attack was very sudden. However, I believe everyone knows that this is the beginning of the battle between the divine emperors. Yi Tianyun said in a deep voice, "This is only the beginning, the real main character has yet to appear. However, according to the time, I reckon that it will appear very soon. That is the evil emperor's true body." The evil emperor's true body? They revealed puzzled expressions. They were not too sure about the situation, and Yi Tianyun did not explain it to them in detail. Yes, the evil emperor that we saw before was actually not his true body, but one of his clones. Due to his strength being suppressed, his main body was unable to appear. He could only wait for the environment to change before he could truly appear. At that time, his power will be fully unleashed, and his power will be more terrifying than the evil god. Yi Tianyun said solemnly. Changes in the environment. Leader, are you talking about the area outside where the black energy is constantly spreading? The Fector domain ruler was more sensitive in this aspect and immediately noticed the changes in the surroundings. That's right, it's the spread of that energy. It was a bit like the heavenly towering divine screen. The area lords who had experienced it would definitely feel a sense of familiarity. It of evil, emperor. It was, and evil, domain, and emperor domain, 1. Is there no way to get rid of this? Someone immediately asked the key point. If you want to get rid of it, you'll need at least a grade 8 light attribute core to be able to do so. Yi Tianyun looked at them and asked, do any of you know where to get an 8th rank light attribute core? The domain lords looked at each other and shook their heads. They were all shocked by the condition. How could an 8th rank light attribute core be produced? There used to be 8th rank light attribute cores. But after the appearance of the evil spirits, the light attribute cores gradually disappeared. The Fector domain lord looked at them and said, I think you all know where the 8th rank light attribute cores are. The domain lords nodded. The light attribute cores must be with the evil spirits. They were either stored away or destroyed. They were not allowed to be disturbed by the light attribute cores, so they were collected in advance, so they could not be found. There are no 8th rank light attribute cores, but there are 6th rank and 7th rank light attribute cores. The medicine god also attended the meeting. As an ally, he had to participate. The domain lords sympathized with the medicine god temple when they learned the details of the situation. They had been deceived by the evil emperor for so long, but the evil emperor was at fault, not the medicine god temple. Even if they had been dissatisfied with the medicine god temple, they should let it go now. The real focus was to unite against the evil emperor. 6th rank and 7th rank light attribute cores. Yi Tianyun narrowed his eyes as if he had thought of something. Then he said, well, who has a 6th rank or 7th rank light attribute core? Take them out. The more the better. I have a way to solve this problem. The domain lord's eyes lit up. They knew that their alliance lord had a solution. Next, let's talk about another matter, the heretic god's pearl. Yi Tianyun looked at the domain lords and said in a low voice, if the black energy is not eliminated, the evil emperor will undoubtedly come to the forces that have the evil spirit's orb. When that happens, the evil spirit's orb will become very dangerous. I have a suggestion, and that is to hand over the heretic god's orb to me for safekeeping. I wonder if you are willing? Yi Tianyun only mentioned 2 things in this meeting. One was the evil emperor's situation, and the other was the evil spirit's orb. Alliance Lord, if we hand it over to you, won't it be more dangerous? After all, you will have more evil spirit's orbs, and the evil emperor will immediately target you, Domain Lord Yulong said. The realm of the 3 realms, Yi Tianyun replied calmly. It was a short sentence, but it was an unquestionable answer. It convinced Region Lord Yulong wholeheartedly. As long as the evil spirit's orb was not taken out, Even the evil emperor would have a hard time snatching it. Of course, even without the realm of the three realms, I still have the ability to keep the evil spirit's orb. Moreover, I have a special use for it. If I use it well, I might be able to restrain the evil emperor. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed as he thought of the evil spirit puppets. If the evil spirit puppets collected the evil spirit's orbs and used the energy within them, they might be able to transform into evil spirits that could be control. Just thinking about the evil spirits and the evil emperor was exciting. It can restrain the evil emperor? They looked at each other in astonishment. This was something that he had never thought about. If that was the case, it would be a good thing. Then I am willing to hand over the evil spirit's orb. Me too. Domain Lord Yulong and Domain Lord Shoutian were both willing to hand over the evil spirit's orb. It seems that I will have to hand it over as well. I am convinced of the Alliance Lord's strength. The Fector Domain Lord smiled and decided to hand over the evil spirit's orb. Chapter 1776. Once Yi Tianyun mentioned it, they were all willing to hand over the evil spirit's orb. In the past, they weren't willing to hand it over, but now they were all willing. The main reason was that in these years, Yi Tianyun had changed too much. Not only did he become their leader, but he also had terrifying power. Originally, they didn't hand it over mainly because they were worried that Yi Tianyun wouldn't be able to keep it. Giving it to him was equivalent to harming him, so they didn't dare to give it to him. But it was different now. Yi Tianyun was extremely strong, and could even fight against the evil emperor. Handing it over to him was undoubtedly the safest choice. Moreover, Yi Tianyun had placed the evil spirit's orb in the god realm of the three realms. Even if the evil spirits were reborn, it would be meaningless. As long as the shield wasn't broken, they wouldn't be able to get the evil spirit's orb. Of course, the evil spirits couldn't be reborn. They were all sealed, so naturally they couldn't be reborn. If they could be reborn, why would they foolishly try to snatch the evil spirit's orb? Seal themselves? Many thanks for everyone's trust. This heretic god's pearl is of great use to me. You'll know in the future. When necessary, it might even be a trump card. Yi Tianyun smiled slightly, maintaining a sense of mystery. The region lords didn't know what was going on, but they were still looking forward to it. All along, Yi Tianyun had never disappointed them. Occasionally, he would even create miracles. After giving instructions, Yi Tianyun immediately ordered them to collect light cores. As long as it was light cores, it was fine. As for the grade, the higher the better. Let's not talk about grade for now. They all carried a doubtful attitude as they began to collect, but didn't ask much. Since Yi Tianyun had said so, they could only obey. Yi Tianyun stayed in this temporary base, waiting for them to return. I hope it's effective. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed. This was all his own imagination. Not long after, the region lords all swiftly gathered the light cores and did their best to bring them over. Alliance Master, this is all we have in stock. This is also all we have in stock. We don't have much attainment in the light attribute, so this is a little shabby. This is a level 6 light core. I've searched everywhere, but this is the only one I could find. All of the region masters enthusiastically took out all of their trump cards, not holding back in the slightest. Under such circumstances, being stingy would be courting death. Although they didn't know what Yi Tianyun wanted to do, they were sure that he wanted to get rid of the pitch-black energy. However, it was strange that he didn't care about the grade of the energy. Yi Tianyun collected them one by one. The highest grade was only the 7th grade, and there wasn't a single 8th grade one. Even the lowest grade was 1st grade. It was indeed a little shabby. All in all, there were more rank 3 and rank 4 martial artists, and they could still find quite a number of martial artists of this level. Very good. It's good enough that we have it. Thank you all. Yi Tianyun looked at them and said, be more vigilant now. The evil spirit race might attack again at any time. I'll go into seclusion first. After saying that, he went to the seclusion area, leaving the region lords looking at each other. They thought that they could see something, but it seemed like they couldn't. After Yi Tianyun came to the seclusion area, he took out the space that stored the light cores. He had collected so many light cores, so naturally, he wanted to fuse them. He had the fusion system. If he fused them, he might be able to forcibly synthesize an 8th grade core. Therefore, no matter how many grades of light cores there were, he had to fuse them. Although this was a little wasteful, at this point, he couldn't care less about whether it was wasteful or not. An 8th grade core was far better than a bunch of low-grade cores. Let's start fusing. I hope that this pile of things can help me successfully synthesize an 8th grade light core. Yi Tianyun glanced at the pile of light cores and started to fuse them. He immediately activated the fusion system mode and used his own 7th grade light core as a benchmark. Then, he crazily smashed the light cores in. Successfully fused 7th grade light core. 7th grade light core strengthened by 1 level. Successfully fused 6th grade light core. 7th grade light core strengthened slightly. Successfully fused 5th grade light core. 7th grade light core strengthened slightly. Success, piles of light cores began to fuse at a crazy speed. The light core in his body began to strengthen continuously. After smashing it in, it strengthened slightly, and the luster on the surface became slightly stronger. If this continued, the luster would only get higher and higher. It was obvious that it was getting stronger and stronger. If this continued, it would definitely be able to strengthen its core to the 8th grade. The premise was that this pile of light cores could really successfully upgrade the 7th grade core. The lower the grade, the smaller the effect was, almost only a little bit. However, he didn't give up. Instead, he kept smashing the light cores in. He believed that he would be able to upgrade it. If he couldn't upgrade it, he could only buy light cores. Of course, he could buy light cores. But he must first throw them into the shop, and then sell them once, then the light cores will appear in the shop. This is the simplest and most crude method, but the price is extremely high. Crazy point, it definitely needs to be a very high value. For example, if he sells it at most 100 compressed crazy point, if he wants to buy it back, he will need more than 10,000 compressed crazy point. In other words, 100 times the level. The price is extremely high, he can't keep on copying it. If the price is extremely low, then he will really explode. His crazy point is not low. If he threw in Empyrean spirit treasure, and then bought a lot of it, wouldn't he be able to upgrade a lot? Or throw in all kinds of precious 10,000 years spirit herbs, and then buy a lot of them? The answer is no, the extremely high price, so that he can only buy a small part at most, and then all his crazy point will be empty. Unless he really has too much crazy point, he really doesn't dare to waste it. At present, it seems that his crazy point is still not enough. Some divine skills or bloodline, he doesn't dare to upgrade it. Upgrading is basically a lot of deficit, it's better to save it for a critical time. There is one last 7th grade core left. The last thing Yi Tianyun took was a 7th grade light core. The light core in his body has been emitting a dazzling white light. It seems that it can be upgraded by a little bit. With this 7th grade core, I should be able to upgrade it. Yi Tianyun kept such a 7th grade core, in fact, to throw it into the shop and sell it, and then buy it again. Now it seems that it should have reached the limit, it should be able to upgrade it. But he really can't guarantee it. After all, the appraisal I can't see how much can be upgraded. Let's take a gamble. Chapter 1777. Yi Tianyun feels that it should be enough. He doesn't want to throw it into the store and then buy it back. This means that he will lose a lot of money, which is really not what he wants to see. He calculated a little. If he does this, his crazy point will definitely be in deficit. One must know that he killed so many evil spirit race this time. He must have gained a lot of crazy point, but in the face of the 7th level light core, it still seems to be stretched. Immediately, he gritted his teeth and slammed the 7th level light core in, and then the light core began to bloom with dazzling light. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun, successfully upgraded the 7th level light core to 8th level light core. Accompanied by a crisp and sweet sound, Yi Tianyun successfully upgraded the 7th level light core to 8th level. The 7th level light core in his body immediately bloomed with more dazzling white light, and soon upgraded into a smaller, but the energy is compressed to a more amazing level. It still looks like the white light is shining, but it is more dazzling than before, more transparent and amazing. This is the 8th level core, it really succeeded. Yi Tianyun was happy, he felt that it was just a little bit away, but he felt that there should be no problem if he tried a little. Now it seems that there is really no problem, he successfully upgraded it. If that's the case, it won't be difficult to upgrade the other cores. Yi Tianyun thought of other cores. The grade is relatively low. If they can be upgraded, then his own strength will improve a lot. Now that the light core has been upgraded, it makes him feel that his strength has been greatly improved, especially in the light attribute cohesion. Whoever plays with the light attribute in front of him is courting death. Let's try the effect of this 8th level light core first. Yi Tianyun is a little excited. He just doesn't know the effect of the 8th level light core. This is the first time he has an 8th level light core. The effect should be very good. Immediately, he flew out, and soon came to the outermost area. The dark energy outside shrouded the outside even darker. A wave of pressure came head-on, making him feel a little uncomfortable. This discomfort is not causing him any pressure, but a kind of discomfort. It was like the environment wasn't suitable for them to live in. It was impossible for him to stay here for a long time. It would make him feel uncomfortable all over. Of course, with his current cultivation, it would not be a problem for him to stay here for a long time. However, for other cultivators, especially those with lower cultivation, it would be difficult for them to break through. Changing the environment was very important. Once it was no longer suitable for survival, it would be impossible to break through. In particular, this pitch-black energy also had a suppressive effect, making it impossible for them to unleash their full strength. Many cultivators had discovered this situation, but they were powerless to change it. They could only endure this effect. Yi Tianyun first chose the area above the divine domain, and then took out the 8th tier light core. In an instant, his body became as dazzling as the sun, radiating light in all directions and bursting out in all directions. The instant it blossomed, the pitch-black energy in the sky actually began to melt. The speed was not fast, but rather slow. At a speed visible to the naked eye, it began to fade bit by bit, returning to its original color. Although it was still pitch-black, this pitch-black darkness did not give off any sense of pressure. Instead, it gave off a sense of intimacy. It's a little effective. Continue to open up. Yi Tianyun shouted. The light core in his body opened up completely, and a light dragon whizzed out, devouring the pitch-black energy in a frenzy. This time, its speed finally increased. In the blink of an eye, it had devoured a part of the area. It was quite shocking. The effect is not bad, but the consumption is a little high. Yi Tianyun was delighted. Although the speed was still very slow, overall, it was already very good. At least he could continue to destroy it. It was not like he could not get rid of it no matter what he tried. He continued to clear it. The many cultivators below all saw what Yi Tianyun was doing. Especially some of the region lords who had not left. When they saw this scene, they were dumbfounded, frightened by the scene. Didn't they say that there wouldn't be a rank 8 light core? How come there's one all of a sudden? This clearing speed is really fast. We've gone all out, but we've only cleared out a little bit at most. As expected of our nemesis light core. Yeah, didn't the chief say there was no 8th tier light core? How did it suddenly appear? It's just that according to this clearing speed, it's still a little slow. If only it could be a little faster. Isn't this fast enough? I could only clear a little bit when I risked my life previously. The chief's speed is already very fast. I should say that it's already not bad if he can clear it. They were still very surprised. Fortunately, they did not leave, so they did not miss this scene. The large-scale clearing of the black energy made them feel refreshed and happy. If this continued, this god territory would still be cleared. It was just that it was not just this area that was contaminated, but a large part of the god territory. A large part of the god territory was gradually contaminated. Some had already become very stubborn, and it was very difficult to clear it. Yi Tianyun could definitely clear it here. It was just that the speed was very slow. It seemed that the speed was not bad, but if it spread to the entire god territory, it would be a little slow. It would probably take a long time just to clean up this place. This way, it would be another god territory that would take a long time to clear. In this case, I don't know if it will be cleared before the God Emperor battle begins. Cleared Black Blood, gained 1000 compressed EXP. Cleared Black Blood, gained 600 compressed EXP, At this time, every time a little bit of black blood is cleared, he gets different levels of EXP, which changes according to the concentration. It's just that the amount of EXP gained is relatively small, but if he continues to do this, he will definitely accumulate more EXP. Anyway, it's better than nothing. Even if it's mosquito meat, it's still meat. I can still get EXP, this is not bad, but the speed is really too slow, Yi Qianyun frowned. If it was replaced with a 9th tier light core, it would definitely be faster. But where can he get a 9th tier light core? He can't buy a 9th tier light core even if he sold himself. Not to mention a 9th tier light core, he can't even buy 2 8th tier light cores with his current crazy point. When he was thinking about how to solve it, he suddenly remembered something: Evil Spirit's Orb. Chapter 1778. Fighting poison with poison was a good method. If the light element was hard to get rid of, what if it was the evil spirit race? Plus, with the evil spirit's pearl, the devouring would be even more shocking, right? He didn't use it immediately. Instead, he went to find Huan Mingyu to ask if this method was feasible. When he flew down, the other region lords surrounded him and asked, "Alliance leader, how did you get this grade 8 core? Didn't you say that you didn't have it?" "This grade 8 light core was given by you guys," Yi Qianyun said with a smile. "We gave it." They looked at each other, not understanding what Yi Qianyun meant. "Yes, you guys gave it to me. I used those low-grade light cores and forcefully absorbed and fused them to increase the effect." Yi Qianyun didn't hide anything. This method was shocking, but he wasn't worried. When he was strong enough, there were some things that he didn't need to hide. If he said it, it would be even more helpful to him. For example, if they wanted to fuse something, they could ask him for help. This way, not only would they become stronger, but Yi Qianyun would also benefit. They couldn't just let Yi Qianyun fuse and not give anything, right? There's such an ability. They were shocked by this ability. This went against common sense. It had always been fixed and didn't have any effect. No matter how many low-grade cores there were, they wouldn't be able to fuse high-grade ones. Now that Yi Qianyun was able to do this, they were shocked. Yes, but it requires a lot to improve, and it's quite difficult. I didn't say it before because I was afraid I would fail, so I didn't say it. After all, if I said it and failed, it would just be a disappointment, Yi Qianyun explained with a smile. They looked at each other and hurriedly said, "Then, Alliance leader, can you help us fuse? We also want a higher grade core. We will pay you." "Yes, I have many low-grade cores of other elements. I don't need many, but it's fine if I can fuse higher-grade ones." Just like what Yi Qianyun was thinking, they all wanted him to help them fuse with it and use it for themselves. "No problem. You just need to collect them." Yi Qianyun gestured for them to bring it over. In any case, the fusion would only take a short while. It could be said that it didn't take much time. All he had to do was throw them all in. It didn't take him any time at all. That was why he was so straightforward. If he needed a long time, he definitely wouldn't be so straightforward and could only put it aside for now. "Alright, let's go get it now." One by one, they immediately ran to their own god territories and moved all the cores that they did not need over for Yi Qianyun to fuse with. There were plenty of low-grade cores, but high-grade cores were too rare. They didn't have the ability to forcibly upgrade the core, but the core could slowly upgrade itself. When it absorbed enough energy, it would be upgraded. However, this process took a very long time. Just like those 10,000-year-old elixirs, it slowly grew. The speed was so slow that it made people anxious. After they left, Yi Qianyun took advantage of this time to find Huan Mingyu. Huan Mingyu was cultivating. She was prepared to fight to the death with the evil spirit race at any moment. "Alliance leader, what's wrong?" Huan Mingyu slowly opened her eyes, her pitch-black eyes flickering with doubt. Her attitude was still cold, and nothing could cause her to waver. "Can you absorb the black energy that is enveloping it? In other words, if the evil spirit race were to absorb it, would they be able to?" Yi Qianyun did not try. He planned to ask about the situation first. "This won't do. The energy is too stable and cannot be easily absorbed. Unless it's a relatively strong evil spirit race, it needs to be at least at the Sky Sovereign level or above. Moreover, Its bloodline must be pure enough, otherwise it will be impossible to absorb. Huan Mingyu explained, for example, my bloodline is not pure enough, so I can't absorb it for my own use. As for the other powerful evil spirit races, they can absorb it for their own use. In battle, this can also be used as a supply. It's quite troublesome. Huan Mingyu shook his head. When he thought of the big problem, he felt extremely troubled. There's such a thing. Yi Tianyun's expression changed. It was equivalent to filling the sky with pills. When he consumed too much, he would directly devour them to recover. The key was that they could not use this kind of supply. Only the evil spirit race could use it. Yes. Actually, I just remembered a little. I didn't expect it to have such a disgusting effect. If we continue to fight, it will be extremely disadvantageous to us. Huan Mingyu said. This is not just disadvantageous, it's simply a great danger. Yi Tianyun said in a deep voice, then I'll control it and try absorbing it now. What should I do? Huan Mingyu thought for a moment, then was startled. Could it be that puppet? But that puppet is still a puppet. Will its bloodline be very pure? Whether the bloodline is pure or not is another matter. What if I use the evil spirit's orb? Yi Tianyun chuckled. He already had a premonition that he could devour it crazily. That's true. Huan Mingyu's expression was filled with joy. He finally revealed a different expression. Then I'll give it a try now. Yi Tianyun quickly summoned the evil spirit puppet. He was not in a hurry to use it immediately. Instead, he continuously smashed the evil spirit race's materials onto its body. He had killed so many evil spirit races, the materials must be quite astonishing. Perhaps it wouldn't be able to level up by a lot, but it would still be a little. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully leveling up the evil spirit puppet to the early stage of the God Realm. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully leveling up the evil spirit puppet to the middle stage of the God Realm. After a round of fierce smashing, the evil spirit puppet had actually risen to the level of a god, and was even stronger than Yi Tianyun. Of course, its overall strength was definitely inferior. He only made the evil spirit puppet's strength a little stronger, so that it could control the evil spirit's orb better. Why do I feel that the strength of this evil spirit puppet seems to have increased by several levels? Huan Mingyu even suspected that he was mistaken. How could he feel such a situation? Without doing anything, it suddenly became stronger. How could it not be strange? This is all your illusion, don't worry about it. Yi Tianyun took out the evil spirit's orb and threw it into the evil spirit puppet's body. If it was any other domain lord, they would definitely be shocked. This way of controlling all the evil spirit's orb would definitely be extremely easy to devour. Otherwise, why would it be scattered across several god realms? But the evil spirit puppet was different. It could cut off essence chi, so it was naturally not afraid of being absorbed. It could control it however it wanted. Chapter 1779. After he was ready, he immediately controlled the evil spirit puppet to fly outside. However, this evil spirit puppet was slightly concealed by Yi Tianyun's power to prevent other cultivators from seeing it. If it was seen, it would easily cause chaos, so he might as well hide it. Unless one's cultivation was slightly stronger, otherwise, one would not be able to see what its true form was. After the evil spirit puppet flew out, it quickly began to revolve the evil spirit's pearl in its body. An incomparably evil power began to circulate in its body. However, it did not seep out of its body, but circulated inside its body. As time passed, the power became stronger and stronger. The power of the evil spirit's pearl had already been gradually released. The evil spirit puppet's power also began to increase crazily. Its battle strength suddenly jumped to the upper heavenly god stage, then rushed to the middle stage, followed by the late stage, and finally reached a state close to the god emperor. Even if the incomparably evil power was not released, it would immediately attract the attention of various experts and domain lords. However, Yi Tianyun immediately transmitted his voice to them, telling them not to worry, this was just his puppet. Only then did they feel at ease. Otherwise, this aura would really be very frightening. How did the Alliance Master get this thing? It's really scary. They were all frightened. This power was really incomparably strong and incomparably evil. If not for Yi Tianyun saying it, they would really think that the evil emperor had descended. Speaking of which, what does the Alliance Master want to do by getting this puppet here? They did not know, especially when they saw Yi Tianyun stop to clear the black energy. They felt that it was a little strange. Previously, it was still continuously clearing, but after clearing for a short while, it did not continue. When they were guessing what Yi Tianyun wanted to do, suddenly, the evil spirit puppet in the air opened its huge mouth and swallowed. The surrounding black energy began to flow into the evil spirit puppet's mouth like flowing water. This speed was much faster than Yi Tianyun's slow clearing. It was simply not on the same level. In the blink of an eye, a large area was sucked dry, all absorbed into the evil spirit puppet's body. Absorbing could restore the body. This method had its advantages and disadvantages. The advantage was that he could recover his body at a critical moment. The disadvantage was that an area would be immediately sucked dry. This was equivalent to returning the environment to its original state, which was naturally not worth it. However, when the evil spirit race really attacked, they would definitely not just absorb one side. This would be too much of a scam. At most, he would absorb a little thinner and change to another area. He wouldn't be like Yi Tianyun, sucking in everything in one go. This speed is amazing. Even a 9th level light core wouldn't have this kind of speed, Yi Tianyun said as he was shocked by the speed of the light core. Previously, he thought that his speed had increased, but he didn't expect it to be so heaven-defying. It wouldn't take long for them to clear the sky above God's domain. In terms of speed, it was at least 10 times faster than Yi Tianyun. With such speed, there was no need for Yi Tianyun to do anything. The evil spirit puppet was enough. Although he didn't need the light core in his body anymore, it would be of great help in battle or to increase his own strength. Therefore, it wasn't a wasted improvement. It was still very effective. When the time came to fight with the evil emperor, it would be a very good trump card. The effect is indeed shocking. It seems that if this continues, the clearing speed will be much faster. However, this way, the evil emperor will probably make a move soon. Huan Mingyue's eyes were extremely cold. Yi Tianyun nodded. This was equivalent to forcing the evil emperor out. The environment that he had painstakingly set up was destroyed just like that. How could he just watch as everything was cleared? It wouldn't be long before the evil emperor rushed out. Before that, he would clear as many as he could. It was better than being enveloped. Looks like I have to make more heavenly venerables. Even if they can't compare to this one, at least their absorption speed is much faster than ours. Yi Tianyun had already calculated and planned to make more evil spirit puppets later. They didn't need to have a high cultivation level. They just needed to be heavenly venerables. After making them, he would distribute them to various places to absorb them. This would definitely speed up the clearing process. Many cultivators were shocked when they saw this scene. Some people who didn't know what was going on thought that some Almighty had come to help. Such a terrifying power had drained the black energy that everyone was worried about. This terrifying speed was really shocking. Then, Yi Tianyun went to create other evil spirit puppets. As long as there were enough materials, he could create unlimited evil spirit puppets without any restrictions. It was just that he had stuffed too many evil spirit puppets previously. The remaining materials were still relatively small, so the number of evil spirit puppets that he could create was relatively small. However, this didn't matter. When he went to kill a group of evil spirit clan again, a lot of materials would drop. All of you, go and clear this black energy for me. Yi Tianyun immediately released this batch of evil spirit puppets. One by one, they quickly rushed in all directions and began to devour the black energy. The clearing speed was not as fast as the evil spirit puppets with the evil spirit's pearl, but it was a level faster than Yi Tianyun. This kind of result was enough for him. But Yi Tianyun didn't stay idle. He also went to help clean up. He can clean up as much as he can, anyway he has nothing to do. At the same time, the situation here was quickly known by the evil emperor. The evil emperor had been placing spies nearby. As long as there was any unusual movement, he would know immediately. What? There is an expert of my clan helping to clean up the black blood. Is he the descendant of the evil spirits? The evil emperor frowned and said, "What is this guy doing? He took away the dark fantasy moon and now he is helping to clean up. Is he still an expert of my clan? What exactly did that kid do to win him over so tightly? I'm not too sure about this. It seems that he is using the power of the evil spirit's pearl to devour the black blood. If this continues, I'm afraid." The elders below had ugly expressions. It was not easy for them to successfully set up a trap, but now there was a traitor. These guys have a lot of ideas. It seems that the plan has to be brought forward, but the preparations are almost done. The evil emperor stood up, took a deep breath and said, "Now start to organize the army. In 3 days, we will launch an all-out attack and start the war of the God Emperors. At that time, I will become the God Emperor and rule this world." The evil emperor's eyes were burning, and the depths of his eyes were filled with fanaticism. For this moment, he had prepared for a long time. In the first war of the God Emperors, he had already started preparing. However, at that time, the leader was not him, but the evil spirits. Chapter 1780. Under Yi Tianyun's leadership, the various areas were frantically devouring the black blood. The areas that were originally enveloped by the black energy began to gradually become less oppressive. However, overall, the speed was still too slow. After all, the black blood had already spread to more than half of the divine realm's forces. It was not an easy task to get rid of it. It could even be said to be a very difficult task that required a considerable amount of time. However, Yi Tianyun did not hope to be able to completely eliminate it. He only needed to eliminate the black blood near the forces. At the very least, when the evil spirit race attacked, there was no corresponding bonus effect. Unless they filled in the gaps again, there would be no bonus effect. As for whether the black blood would condense again after being eliminated, it was already fixed and would not continue to spread. Therefore, he only needed to clean up a little and it would not condense again. Emptying the space above would make it slightly safer. Of course, it was slightly safer. At least he would not be directly crushed. Hurry up, continue to go faster. Yi Tianyun continued to speed up, hoping to be faster. Otherwise, he really would not be able to clean up the black blood. As long as he could clean up the black blood near the various divine realms before the battle, it would be considered a success. However, his current speed was still too slow. He hoped to be a little faster. He had a premonition that the evil emperor would kill his way over very soon. If he could not settle it before then, it would be troublesome. As long as there was an empty area, he believed that the evil emperor, as his main body, would definitely not approach it. If he got close, he would definitely be suppressed. He wasn't sure what the effects of the suppression would be, but one thing was for sure, and that was that it would be very serious. If it was not serious, the evil emperor would have sent his main body long ago. Time passed quickly. On the 3rd day, he finally cleaned up most of the areas above the divine realm's forces. There were still a small number of areas that had not been completely cleaned up. This was already quite shocking. If it was before, he would probably only be able to clean up the area of 1 or 2 divine realms in 3 days. This speed was too slow. Indeed, if he wanted the best effect, he had to use the evil spirit's pearl. It could be said that during this period of time, most of the black blood was devoured by the evil spirit puppet with the evil spirit's pearl. That speed was really too shocking. It absorbed a large piece in the blink of an eye, so the evil spirit puppet contributed the most. As he continued to devour the black blood, an urgent message suddenly came: the evil spirits were attacking. The area that the message came from was indeed the cultivation god realm. In other words, it was one of the god domains that he had previously estimated, the god domain that possessed the evil god's pearl. The evil gods did not know about this, so they naturally attacked the heaven cultivation celestial domain first, wanting to snatch it from the heaven cultivation celestial domain. Even if the cultivation did not have the evil spirit's divine pearl, it would still be the evil spirit. After all, the heaven cultivation god realm was also a member of the divine emperor battle back then. He had even annihilated a lot of the evil spirit race, and now, he had even become the guardian of the evil god orb. Cultivation, it did not have. Divine god of realm. Spirit, as expected of the heavenly cultivation god realm, without any hesitation, Yi Tianyun immediately used the teleportation godstone to fly to the heaven cultivation celestial realm. At the same time, he also sent out a message for the other experts to quickly go and provide support. However, he couldn't send out too many experts. Otherwise, the main body's strength would be depleted, and they wouldn't be able to defend it. Who knew if the evil emperor would come up with a diversion, pretending to attack the heaven cultivation god realm, but actually arranging for other experts to attack another region. Therefore, it was necessary to leave some experts behind to keep watch. Even if they couldn't defend the city, they could at least hold on for a while so that the other forces could arrive to support them. If they couldn't even hold on, then they would be annihilated before reinforcements could arrive. Obviously, they had failed. In the next second, Yi Tianyun appeared outside the heaven cultivation god realm. What came into sight was an extremely terrifying force enveloping the entire area. And the source of this terrifying power was the energy emitted by an evil spirit race in front of them. Evil Emperor original body, power that is infinitely close to the level of a god emperor. It belongs to the level of a demigod emperor. It had the most evil devouring ability, and any of its attacks contained devouring power that could devour everything. In a suitable environment, one's strength can be fully displayed. In an unsuitable environment, one's strength can be suppressed to 20%. Super Demigod Emperor, what kind of name was that? When he saw the effect of suppressing the environment, Yi Tianyun was really shocked. He didn't expect the effect of the environment to be so great. It seemed that the repulsiveness of this world was still very great. Especially the higher one's cultivation, the stronger the repulsiveness. Suppressing the effect to 20%, this was really a scam. On the other hand, the other evil spirit heavenly venerables could at most suppress their strength to 60% to 70%, which wasn't that exaggerated. Now that they were in a suitable environment, their strength was restored to its original state, and even increase. No wonder they would pay a huge price and sacrifice their subordinates. Just for this effect, the sacrifice was really worth it. Super Demigod Emperor, is this the strength of the evil emperor's main body? Yi Tianyun's pupils constricted. This power was really too strong, he didn't even know how to describe it. He could only say that it was several times stronger than the previous evil emperor, or even more than 10 times stronger. This was the strength of the main body that wasn't suppressed. At this moment, the sky above the heaven cultivation god realm was quickly shrouded by black blood. The cause of this scene was naturally the evil emperor sending a large number of subordinates to fight crazily, and then sacrifice their own blood to the heaven. This way, the previous gap was immediately filled. Especially when Yi Tianyun saw some evil spirit race rushing into the void directly to play self-destruct, blowing themselves up into pieces. At the same time, blood splattered out, quickly filling the gap. Do you think that I can't do anything to you just by breaking through a little bit? The evil emperor's main body was no different from his clone. Whether it was his appearance or the details of his body, they were exactly the same. The only difference was the difference in strength. There was no other difference. When the heaven cultivation god realm was about to be filled, a huge shadow emerged from the heaven cultivation god realm. How dare you, evil spirit race! Don't be presumptuous. The shadow of the heaven cultivation patriarch emerged from the heaven cultivation god realm. He didn't expect to be able to erupt again at this critical moment. The previous eruption seemed to have been exhausted, and he didn't expect to be able to erupt again in such a short time. This should be because the heaven cultivation domain lord and the others kept replenishing their energy, so they could use it again. You're just a soul, and you dare to be arrogant in front of me? The evil emperor grabbed the void, and a huge hand of the Grim Reaper fiercely grabbed the heaven cultivation patriarch's attack from the pitch-black sky, and at the same time, squeezed. Bang! The heaven cultivation patriarch's main body's attack was crushed just like that. At the same time, the energy of the crushed heaven cultivation patriarch was absorbed by the evil emperor, becoming a part of his body. Chapter 1781. The monstrous patriarch of the heaven cultivation sect had been crushed just like that, and he would never be able to recover. He had already used it once, so he would be able to summon it again after replenishing his energy. But things were different now. His soul had been crushed, so there was no way to summon him again. The vile emperor's power was truly terrifying. Such an astonishing attack reminded them of when heavenly god Torrential Cloud had been rescued by a black hand of the Grim Reaper when he was fleeing. There was no doubt that he had encountered this black hand, and it was an identical attack. It looked like the one who had saved heavenly god Torrential Cloud was the vile emperor himself. How dare a puny soul like you act so arrogantly? Even if your true body is still alive, you are still an ant to me. The vile emperor chuckled coldly. To him, he could easily crush anything within his area of effect. This was the extent of his power. The plan that had been set up for many years had finally begun. These self-detonating subordinates couldn't just casually stain the air with their black blood. Instead, they had to set up all types of formations to do so. There were all types of formations carved onto the surface of their bodies, as well as black crystals embedded into them. After they died, they would quickly release the black blood to fill up the air and modify the environment. In order to do this, all types of materials and formations had to be carved onto their bodies, which would take a lot of time. If this could be done so easily, the vile emperor probably wouldn't have needed to prepare for so long. He would have attacked long ago. Yi Tianyun's heart jolted as he watched from afar. He didn't think it would be this powerful. If that move was used against the Heaven Cultivation Celestial Realm, it wouldn't take long before the entire Heaven Cultivation Celestial Realm was destroyed. The Heaven Cultivation God Realm was filled with anguished wails. Their patriarch had really died. How could they not be sad and enraged? Vile Emperor, I'm going to kill you. The patriarchs of the Heaven Cultivation God Realm all had bloodshot eyes as they prepared to fight the vile Emperor to the death. How could they not be enraged that their patriarch had died? Just as they were about to charge forward, streaks of divine light suddenly converged from all directions and shot toward the vile emperor. Not only did the streaks of divine light tear through the air, but they also completely purified one evil spirit after another. After the divine light pierced through the black blood, it pierced towards the evil emperor, wanting to punch countless holes into his body. A bunch of old farts, are you finally willing to come out? The evil emperor expressionlessly stretched out his hand and flicked lightly. These seemingly invincible attacks were deflected into countless motes of light, which were then absorbed into his body, becoming a part of him. Such an astonishing attack was broken by him in a seemingly casual manner. It was extremely easy. Following that, more than a dozen figures appeared one after another. Every single one of them was extremely old, as if they were half a step into a coffin. There were also many black spots on their bodies. These black spots were not ordinary black spots, but the devour energy that the evil spirits had left on them. Now, it kept disturbing them, causing them so much pain that they wished they were dead. However, they still persevered until the second battle of God Emperors. Yi Tianyun glanced at them and discovered that each and every one of them was an ancient heavenly deity. Not only that, they were extremely powerful. All of them were half-step God Emperors. Not one of them wasn't. But now, there were half-step God Emperors and existences that surpassed them. They could be said to be a head above them. No wonder they are unwilling to come out. After this battle, no matter who wins or loses, they will fall. When Yi Tianyun saw their states, he could only shake his head. He was helpless. The bodies of these experts were not good enough and they could not last for too long. Once they used their full strength, they would be corroded and turn into dried corpses. This meant that once they came out, they would definitely die. Unless it was a crucial moment, they would not appear. As for gathering together, they would attack and wipe out the evil spirit race. That was still too difficult for them. If they tried to hide, they would only be exhausted to death. Hence, they could only appear at the most crucial moment. It might seem late, but it was the best time to sacrifice their lives. More than a dozen half-step God Emperors, almost every one of them was equivalent to the drug god. In other words, the next step was to become a God Emperor. However, the last step was impossible, so they could only stay at this stage. One could see many things from them. They were just one step away, but the difference was like heaven and earth. They would never be able to get close. Before they died, they would not be able to successfully break through. But the attacks from more than a dozen half-step god emperors were easily blocked by the evil emperor. Is that so? Then fight with us. Who would have thought that someone who was just at the level of evil spirit god would become such an expert? He even knows such a secret technique. We were too careless. So what? We could seal the evil spirits back then. This time, we can seal you too. Although they were not the ones who sealed the half-step god emperors, they were all part of it. The one who sealed the evil emperor was naturally the ancestor of the god spirit race. He sacrificed his life to seal the evil emperor. As for why they were in seclusion for so long, they wanted to master the sealing technique so that they could seal the evil emperor. I know that person. He is heavenly deity Long Tai, one of the god generals who resisted the evil spirits. I didn't expect him to still be alive. I have read about him in the books. He must be heavenly deity Bao Yuan. Rumor has it that he has countless treasures that he can use against his enemies. Ah, that is my goal, the longevity heavenly deity. Their appearance immediately caused many cultivators to be dumbfounded. They didn't expect that so many veteran heavenly gods would appear. They were famous heavenly deities in the Battle of the God Emperors back then. If not for them, the Battle of the God Emperors would have been lost. Now that they had reappeared in the world, they were all very excited. They did not expect that they had been protecting the world, protecting them. At the most crucial moment, they had all appeared to light up the last of their candles. Seal me. The evil emperor sneered. Do you think I am the evil spirits? Winner takes all. His failure was because he was too weak. How far do you think I am from the evil spirits back then? The evil emperor sneered and started to criticize the evil spirits in front of his subordinates. Previously, he was very respectful to the evil spirits. Now, he was criticizing a failed senior. A failure was a failure. As long as he succeeded, even if the evil spirits were reborn, they would have to kneel before him. Chapter 1782. Over a dozen half-step god emperors. It was a huge formation. All of them unleashed their full power. The energy stored in their bodies was released in one day. One by one, the old men, who looked extremely old, instantly turned into sturdy young men. The moment they regained their youthful appearance, they looked like young men. At this moment, they were the strongest and most vigorous. Correspondingly, they could only maintain this stage for a short period of time. If they could not suppress the evil emperor within this period of time, they would be met with a complete end. This was not them regaining their youthfulness. Instead, they were releasing all their energy to make themselves younger. It was like the final radiance of a setting sun. This meant that they could only succeed in this battle. Failure was not allowed. If they failed, not only would they be finished, the evil emperor would not be sealed. It would be a huge loss for both sides. Go. The dozen half-step god emperors did not delay. They immediately unleashed their strongest moves. Rays of divine light radiated from the surface of their bodies. They joined hands in a tacit manner and formed a huge halo. Without a doubt, this was the sealing formation. It was set up in an instant. After years of cooperation, they were very tacit. Hence, they did not need much time to prepare to set up such a sealing formation. In order to set up this sealing formation, they should have prepared for a long time to prevent such a situation from happening again. It was difficult for them to eliminate all of them. After all, during the first battle of God Emperors, they had already overdrafted their lives. Now, they were just struggling at death's door. If they were fine, then forget about the evil spirit race, any random race could be annihilated together. But they could only appear once. Moreover, they could only appear at the most crucial moment. After being released, the dense net of light sealed the surroundings. Not only did it seal the evil emperor inside, but it also sealed the other evil spirit race members. Then, they quickly closed up. Wherever they went, the ordinary evil spirit heavenly lord or evil spirit heavenly god would be vaporized when they touched the dense net of light. Not even a speck was left. The terrifying purifying effect was really invincible. Over a dozen half-step god emperors used their full power to release power. How could it not be terrifying? Yi Tianyun, who was at the side, looked at the situation from afar. He was shocked. This power was indeed shocking. If he were to be trapped by this power, it would be difficult for him to escape. Initially, he had wanted to come over to help, but now, it seemed like there was no need for him to help anymore. Or rather, if he were to interfere, he would only make things worse. He wasn't familiar with these seniors, so he couldn't coordinate well with them. He could only hope that he could seal the vile emperor and put an end to all of this. As long as the evil emperor was sealed, the rest would be easy to deal with. The net of light swept across, causing the faces of many evil spirit races to change, feeling extremely terrified. When he turned his head around to look at evil emperor looked calm, and he did not feel fear at all. Who would have thought that you bunch of old undyings would possess such power? I truly didn't expect that, the vile emperor said, nodding in approval. I didn't expect it. Then seal it for us, shouted one of them. He used all his power to sweep forward, and when he got close to evil emperor, he instantly turned into a wall of light that trapped evil emperor. Evil emperor didn't move. It should be said that from the start, he didn't move at all. Just as they were about to seal him, the vile emperor suddenly raised his head, and a strange smile appeared on his face. They were stunned, but they didn't stop. Instead, they continued to seal him in circles, wanting to completely seal him in place. Yi Tianyun felt that it was weird. He felt that evil emperor was fearless and confident. In the next moment, evil emperor extended his hand and tapped a few times. His fingers were immediately burnt by the energy, but he didn't stop and continued to tap a few more times. Quang Dang, after tapping a few times, the thick wall of light suddenly had a crack, followed by 2, 3. It became more and more concentrated. The dozen half-step god emperors were shocked when they saw this, and their lips trembled as they shouted, "No, impossible." Just as he shouted out impossible, there was a hong sound and the thick light wall shattered. Over a dozen half-step god emperors were sent flying by the explosion. The sealing formation that they had painstakingly created was broken just like that. Once the formation was broken, it meant that they were going to suffer from the backlash. Evil emperor didn't even need to use any strength to heavily injure them. After spitting out a few mouthfuls of blood, their muscular bodies started to shrivel up. His pitch-black hair began to turn slightly white, and it gradually spread to the rest of his hair. Their old age started to cover their bodies once again. Such consumption had a huge impact on them. They were originally on their last breath, and now that they were on their last breath, they would definitely be beaten back to their original state. "This is your trump card." Evil Emperor laughed coldly. "This seal of yours isn't new at all. It's the same as before. The same seal, and you want to use it twice. Do you think I am stupid?" It turned out that the evil emperor had long since researched it. Back then, the evil emperor had been ruthlessly sealed, causing their army to collapse. Evil emperor was definitely prepared. If there was such a seal again, he had the confidence to break it. After all, he had already found the weakness, so it would be easy for him to break it. No wonder he was so calm. He was waiting for them to come over to seal him, and then fiercely break them. This way, he didn't even need to do much, and the power of the backlash repelled them. This was strategy. He didn't need to use any strength to easily repel a dozen half-step god emperors. If not for that, he could indeed repel them, just that he would need to spend more strength. Now, they were basically giving themselves up. Evil Emperor beat them at their own game, easily breaking it. When Evil Emperor said that, their expressions changed. They didn't expect that they would lose the game because of one move. Without the seal, how could they deal with Evil Emperor? Not only was the combined seal shockingly powerful, it could also erupt with its strongest power, harvesting the other evil spirit race along the way, and even heavily injure Evil Emperor. Who knew that they were wrong? They didn't expect that Evil Emperor had researched this kind of combined seal, and even found a flaw. It was clear that Evil Emperor's ability wasn't as simple as just strength. He also grasped the ability to break formations. This meant that he had a divine carving master standard that wasn't low. It was very likely that he was at the 8th or 9th grade. Chapter 1783. Fight. More than 10 half-step god emperors roared. Once again, they unleashed their strongest power and surged towards Evil Emperor. Their combined seal was meaningless. No matter how they used it, it would be broken. Although the seal could not be used, they were all half-step god emperors. They had to kill the evil emperor at all costs. At the very least, they had to injure the evil emperor and make him hide for a while. This was the only thing they could do. This was the last time they would show their faces in the world. Boom, boom, boom. One terrifying move after another blasted toward the evil emperor. Each move could destroy a planet and kill a large number of experts. This was the power of a half-step god emperor. They had more than a dozen half-step god emperors. The entire space shook violently as if it was going to collapse at any time. How could the power of the attacks from so many half-step god emperors be weak? Especially with their years of tacit understanding, even if they could not combine to attack, they could at least gather their power and attack the evil emperor. Under the frenzied attacks, the space in front was shaking. Many of the cultivators below widened their eyes as they watched. They all hoped that the evil emperor would be blasted to death. If such a terrifying evil emperor were to die, then everything would be over. The remaining evil spirit race could be dealt with slowly. The strongest evil emperor had to be dealt with first. Sometimes, the most powerful person was the key to victory. When one's cultivation reached a certain level, just relying on numbers was meaningless. Can we really kill the evil emperor? There are more than a dozen powerful heavenly gods, all half-step god emperors. Can they not kill the evil emperor? I hope they can really kill him. Kill that bastard evil emperor. They gritted their teeth. They were unable to interfere, but they could help kill some evil spirit races. The rest of the evil spirit race did not stop attacking. They continued to attack the heaven cultivation god domain. The war did not stop because of this. There was no need to stop. They continued to kill. For glory and for the development of the evil spirit race. The heaven cultivation god domain was also defending to prevent the evil spirit race from attacking. Reinforcements rushed over to strengthen the defense of the heaven cultivation god domain. However, the evil emperor's side was the one that attracted the most attention. If the evil emperor died, it would be their victory. On the other hand, they did not know who could suppress the evil emperor. With such heaven-defying power, even a dozen of half-step god emperors could not deal with him. Who else could? There were very few half-step god emperors. If they could not deal with them with their strength, they did not know who else could. This strength isn't bad, but it's still quite lacking. Do you plan to use this bit of power to deal with this emperor? If that's really the case, then this emperor is too disappointed. As the evil emperor laughed coldly, the dense energy from the explosion quickly retracted. In the end, what appeared before everyone's eyes was evil emperor's swollen body. His body was slightly damaged. However, these wounds all turned into cyclones and began to absorb the energy that bombarded them into their bodies. After this energy entered his body, it even began to heal his injuries. Not only did his aura not weaken, it even showed signs of strengthening. His powerful devouring ability could even devour their attacks into his body. Looking at Evil Emperor's expression, he looked like he was enjoying it. That was simply too sick. They were dumbfounded. So many strong attacks, and not only did the Evil Emperor not block them, but he used his body to take them. He forcefully absorbed their attacks and turned them into his own. Our attacks have no effect at all. The group of old experts' faces turned green. They did not expect that after using all their strength, they could only cause light injuries. His injuries were still recovering quickly, and he even used their energy to recover. That was extremely ironic. How could they continue like this? 5 dragons roar. At this moment, a 5-colored light pierced through the void. Evil Emperor immediately felt a sense of danger coming from the back of his head. He subconsciously dodged to the side, but the opponent's sneak attack speed was not slow either. Under the situation where one move could not penetrate his head, he quickly turned and stabbed his body. Poochie, the long spear pierced through Evil Emperor's body, directly piercing his heart. At the same time, among the 5 dragons, one of the light dragons was the brightest. It was madly purifying his body. Scram! With a furious roar, the Evil Emperor sent a backhand slap behind him, sending a ball of green light flying a long distance away. At the same time, a spear was left behind him, pinning him in place. The one who was sent flying was naturally Yi Tianyun. His body was unharmed. A bright light shone on the surface of his body. He used an invincible move, so naturally, he was unharmed. Such a violent strike, if he really took it head-on, his body would still be slapped into two. Previously, when he faced Evil Emperor's attack, he was slightly injured. Facing the main body's attack, if he did not do that, he would probably be slapped into pieces. Evil Emperor was much stronger than his clone, so how would he dare to take it head-on? But his sneak attack was successful. He successfully injured Evil Emperor's body, but unfortunately, he was unable to pierce his head. One spear would be enough to kill Evil Emperor. When the others saw this scene, they were really shocked. Dozens of half-step god emperors were unable to injure Evil Emperor. But now, he was stabbed by Yi Tianyun, and his head almost exploded. Yes, it's Alliance Leader. Alliance Leader is amazing. I almost forgot that there's still Alliance Leader. Yes, Alliance Leader could fight Evil Emperor head-on. Unexpectedly, he managed to sneak attack the main body. It's a pity that he couldn't kill him in one move. Otherwise, he would be able to kill Evil Emperor. Suddenly, the cultivators started to get excited. Their low morale was ignited. They saw hope in Yi Tianyun. Evil Emperor, who seemed invincible, was injured by Yi Tianyun and almost killed. How could their low morale not be raised? In a battle, the most terrifying thing was to give up and despair. Once you gave up, everything would be over. You again. Evil Emperor pulled out 5-dragon divine spear. A stream of black blood flowed out. But it quickly healed. The recovery speed was slow. Seems like the restraint of light attribute was quite effective. It was not easy to absorb into the body. Yes, it's me again, old friend. Yi Tianyun looked at him calmly and said, even if it's your main body, I can still injure you. Don't think that there's no one in this world. Not only me, there are other experts who haven't come out. Chapter 1784. Yi Tianyun would not attack head-on. Attacking head-on was the job of the dozen seniors. If he randomly went over, he would only disturb them. Thus, he could only choose to launch a sneak attack. The moment the explosion ended, he immediately appeared behind the heretical emperor and launched a ruthless sneak attack. This combination meant that the dozen seniors' attacks would not be in vain, and it would still have the effect of attracting attention. Against a person like the heretical emperor, choosing to attack head-on instead of sneak attacks would not make one look honorable and just, but foolish. And you want to fight against Evil Emperor in the open? The Evil Emperor had done countless atrocious things in the dark. Anyone who chose to attack him in the open would be an idiot. Besides sneak attacks, what else can you do? The vile Emperor pulled out the 5 dragons' divine spear, then let out an enraged roar and reached out with his hand, snapping the spear in two. Given the explosive power of the spear, snapping an Empyrean spirit treasure was no problem at all. Yi Tianyun expressionlessly looked at the Empyrean spirit treasure. His old friend had been broken, and he still felt a bit sad. It had accompanied him to kill countless evil spirit race, but now it had been broken. It was a bit of a pity. However, even if the 5-dragon divine spear was broken, he had already completed his duty. Against a person like you, as long as I can kill you, it is a good move, whether it's a sneak attack or not. Yi Tianyun's expression was indifferent. Good. I want to see if you can still sneak attack me. The heretical emperor was immediately enraged. It had always been Yi Tianyun who made things difficult for him. He always wanted to tear Yi Tianyun to pieces, but he always failed. This time, his main body should be able to kill Yi Tianyun. The difference between the two was too great. As long as it was not a sneak attack, he was very confident that he could kill Yi Tianyun directly. Don't worry, I already said that besides me, there are others who want to deal with you. In this battle, I won't be the only one who wants to kill you. Yi Tianyun sneered. Immediately, several figures appeared beside him. They were the Sword Edge Region Master, the Cloudpiercer Region Master, and the others. These were the forces of the new generation, and they shouldered the strongest power. Not only that, but the Drug God also came with them. The Drug God was also an extremely strong half-step God Emperor, but compared to the Evil Emperor, he was still slightly inferior. The main thing was that the Evil Emperor had a buff. With the buff from the black energy around him, His power was even more shocking. It might have seemed as if the vile emperor had devoured all of the energy, but he had actually released most of it, allowing this region to absorb it for him. This was equivalent to him setting up a huge formation in the celestial realm, covering almost the entire celestial realm. He was the controller of the formation. He could control it however he wanted. Just now, he had used it to absorb the power of the attack. If he absorbed a little, the formation would absorb more than half. With the rest of his body, there were no injuries to speak of. Yi Tianyun's attack was an exception. The formation did not even have time to absorb it before it exploded on Evil Emperor. At least this proved that the Evil Emperor was not truly invincible. There was still a chance if they fought hard. Evil Emperor, you have deceived the medicine god temple for so long. This time it is time to pay back. The drug god looked at the Evil Emperor angrily. There was no problem with his body. With the nourishment of so many 10,000-year-old elixirs, as long as he was not dead, he could quickly recover. At the same time, the drug god threw out those elixirs, which quickly flew to the dozen seniors, constantly replenishing their vitality, so that they could last longer. From this point, it could be seen that the drug god was making up for his mistakes. If it were not for this group of experts, the medicine god temple would have fallen and become the slaves of the evil spirit race. Now, he released all the elixirs to extend their lives. With the vast vitality, their situation quickly improved, but it was still difficult for them to completely recover. They had stayed in this stage for too long. Even with 10,000-year-old elixirs, they could not recover. But it was not a problem to let them live a little longer. Deceive you? The evil emperor sneered. That's because you are too stupid. If you weren't too stupid, how could you have been fooled? The evil emperor's sarcasm was very sharp, making the drug god's face gloomy. This was not to say that they were stupid, it could only be said that they respected and worshipped their ancestors too much. They felt that their ancestors were omnipotent and didn't feel any pressure sending voice transmissions. Therefore, when the first voice transmission came back, they immediately believed it and didn't check it too much. This was a problem of faith. It could not be said that they were stupid. It was just that this kind of thing really made people feel pity. They had been deceived for so long and had been used as a gun. It was really pitiful. Whether I am stupid or not, you will know in a while. The drug god stretched out his hand, and his body immediately released a green light. The power of the drug god's body was completely released. The drug god's body could not only attract the power of elixirs, but it could also bring out the effect of elixirs to the extreme. Immediately after, a 10,000-year-old elixir lay on his body and began to inject energy into it, and his aura rose crazily. This is the blood-bathing ginseng. Yi Tianyun narrowed his eyes and immediately knew what it was. As the name suggested, the blood-bathing ginseng meant to fight in blood. After absorbing it, it would greatly increase one's strength. The drug god with the drug god's body could not only increase the power and effect several times, but also reduce the side effects to a minimum. Under these blessings, his strength rapidly increased. It could be said that he took a few steps forward on the foundation of a half-step god-emperor. Not only the drug god, but also the other region lords, all took out their strongest treasures, ready to fight to the death with the drug god. Thank you for the elixirs provided by the drug god. It seems that this time we will have to fight with the younger generation. Evil Emperor, we suffered a loss, but don't bully us because we have no one here. That's right, we will completely clear you out, so that your entire race will never be able to come in. One by one, the seniors stood up. They only absorbed briefly and then stood up one after another. They wanted to attack collectively and would not let the younger generation fight. They would always be the vanguard. Such a scene made everyone's blood boil and their fighting spirit soar. With so many companions around, they all stood together and united at the crucial moment. No matter who the enemy was, they could be repelled. Chapter 1785. The evil emperor stretched out his hand and grabbed at the air. The black blood in the air started to emit a pitch-black light, instantly lighting up the entire space. However, this light caused the space to turn black and not emit white light. The pitch-black light shone down from above and quickly enveloped them. At the same time, a suction force continuously surged over, sucking the energy in their bodies upward. It could even be said that if it was pulled up bit by bit, those with low cultivation would immediately have their energy extracted, unable to stop it. Those with strong cultivations did not feel anything and were still able to withstand the suction force. However, they could still vaguely sense that they were being sucked away a little. This level was at least at the heavenly God level. Those within the heavenly God level, including those at the sky sovereign level, would all have their energy absorb. Although it was only a little bit, it would accumulate bit by bit and eventually flow into the black blood. As for the energy that was being extracted, it started to feed back to the evil emperor. Energy that could be seen with the naked eye continuously surged down, continuously strengthening his body. It was as if the essence of their energy had been extracted. Those with low cultivations, forget about energy, even their blood essence was being extracted. If this continued, those with low cultivations would probably become dried corpses. This range also included the majority of the entire God realm. As long as they did not hide in an area that was not covered by the black blood, their energy and blood essence would be quickly extracted. Fortunately, Yi Tianyun had cleared out a large area in advance. Otherwise, they wouldn't even have a place to hide. What? A large number of evil spirit races from the other divine realms have started to self-destruct? Yi Tianyun's face darkened. The black blood that he had absorbed with great difficulty had been replenished just like that. The price the evil spirit race had to pay was naturally very painful. It was to continue sacrificing a large number of evil spirit races to self-destruct. It wasn't that he had done it for nothing. Instead, he had killed a group of evil spirit races. Even so, he was still at a disadvantage. No wonder the evil emperor was so confident. Under this formation, even if an area was destroyed, it could still be quickly repaired. After it was activated, it began to crazily absorb their blood essence and energy, continuously replenishing the evil emperor. This saved him the trouble of constantly capturing cultivators to absorb, and he crazily absorbed them in one go. This was equivalent to them being a bunch of walking spirit herbs. Under the black blood great array, their essence, blood and energy were madly extracted to increase his strength. He didn't need to spend too much effort. He just needed to stand there and absorb the endless energy. It was just that the price one had to pay for such an effect was also extremely high. Evil Emperor had sacrificed a lot of his subordinates to bring about this ultimate effect. However, he didn't feel any heartache at all. These were all people with low cultivation. As long as they weren't at the Empyrean level, they were all expendable to him. If it reached a more serious situation, even an Empyrean or even a heavenly god could be sacrificed. Apart from him, there was nothing that could not be sacrificed. As long as he could become a god emperor, it would be considered a success. He had planned for so long, and he had been unwilling to make a move for so long, all for this moment. Changing the environment of this world would provide him with an endless supply of energy, allowing his cultivation to continue to rise and take another step forward to reach the level of a god emperor. This kind of situation was equivalent to sacrificing the entire Kai Yuan world, turning them into his own nutrient. This method was simply too vicious. As expected of the evil spirit race, and even more so, as expected of the leader of the evil spirit race, the evil emperor. Kill. The medicine god led the charge without hesitation. They had all sensed the change in the situation. As long as the evil emperor didn't die, this kind of great formation would continue until they were drained dry, until they surrendered, or until the evil emperor became a god emperor. Therefore, they could only fight. Apart from fighting, there seemed to be no other method to speak of. Since the seal was ineffective, they could only charge over in numbers and drown the evil emperor. With the medicine god taking action, the rest of the seniors followed him and charged at the evil emperor again. Come, let your energy and blood essence become the stepping stone for me to become a god emperor. The evil emperor's eyes were filled with crazy flames. Facing so many powerhouses, he wasn't afraid at all. In his eyes, these were just elixirs, so he could absorb them. Darkness descend. The heretical emperor waved his hand and a terrifying black light descended from the sky, forcing the experts rushing over to retreat. Just a single move was enough to force back so many heavenly gods. Compared to before, the power of this attack was actually several times stronger. It was obvious that when the Great Formation was fully activated, his overall strength had greatly increased. Too weak, really too weak. The evil emperor laughed crazily. His figure flickered and rushed in front of one of the heavenly gods. He quickly grabbed him and the terrifying black light poured into his body. In the blink of an eye, the heavenly god was drained dry. The heavenly god's eyes were wide open, filled with disbelief and fear. As the evil emperor threw him, he turned into a pile of flying ashes and disappeared in the void. The remaining dregs of energy were all sucked dry by the black blood great array in the sky. Not a single drop was wasted. A powerful heavenly god was killed in one move. The evil emperor's power was terrifying. Where is the heavenly cloud territory master? Isn't he here to attack? Where did he go? The evil emperor laughed heartily. When he was about to pounce on another heavenly god, he subconsciously looked around. He still wanted to kill Yi Tianyun. However, when he turned his head and looked around, he found that Yi Tianyun was not there at all. When he looked carefully, he found that Yi Tianyun was controlling tens of thousands of flying swords, crazily sweeping through the heavenly cultivation god realm, killing countless evil spirit race quickly. He did not go to fight the evil emperor head-on. Instead, he went to kill other invading evil spirit race first. You actually ran over there. Do you dare to fight with me? The evil emperor looked at him and said angrily. Yi Tianyun turned a deaf ear to him and continued to kill these evil spirit race, taking their lives and collecting experience. The number of evil spirit race was not endless. As long as he killed all of them, he could focus on dealing with the evil emperor. However, his real goal was not as simple as killing the evil spirit race, but to gain a lot of experience. He could feel that he could not fight the evil emperor head-on, even if he used crazy damage mode. Therefore, he needed to level up crazily. If he wanted to level up, he needed a lot of experience. A large amount of experience was for these invading evil spirit race, which could not only level up, but also clean up the evil spirit race, killing two birds with one stone. I hope you can hold on a little longer. Now, I can only use this method. Yi Tianyun's face was gloomy. He also wanted to fight the evil emperor head-on, but he was not strong enough. Chapter 1786. Yi Tianyun's actions did not arouse any disgust from the medicine god and the others. It was not that they did not know the severity of the matter, but that Yi Tianyun was more suitable to eliminate the scattered evil spirit race. Under the terrifying 10,000 flying swords, he could easily kill a large number of them. This way, he could reduce his losses and suppress the black blood formation. If any of their cultivators were killed, their energy would immediately be released, and at that time, it would be absorbed by the black blood formation even more. This was also the reason why the evil spirit race kept on killing. Compared to slowly extracting their energy, it was definitely faster to directly kill them and release all of their energy. For this reason, the more cultivators were killed, the more stable the black blood formation would be, and the more shocking the energy that the evil emperor could absorb. It seemed like something that could be done at any time, so why did he have to choose this time to do it? The reason was very simple. The black blood formation could be used as a storage array. The energy released by the killed cultivators could be stored on it. If all of them were to rush over, even the powerful evil emperor would immediately explode from the energy. Therefore, setting up the black blood formation was very important. Not only could it be used as a storage point, it could also suppress many cultivators and suppress strong enemies. This was the reason why the evil emperor had prepared for so long. If he was not prepared and attacked rashly, the dozen or so half-step god lordess in front of him would be enough to take his life. If he couldn't even unleash his full strength, how could he rule this world? Yi Tianyun knew the problem, and that was to prioritize killing the evil spirit race so that the evil emperor would not be able to easily absorb more energy. The main point was to obtain more experience and counterattack. If you have the ability, come and fight me. Don't hide there and kill the weak. The evil emperor was furious. Yi Tianyun's actions had affected a part of his plan. Sacrificing them was nothing, but he also wanted to quickly accumulate energy. Just relying on self-destruction would not be able to obtain too much energy, and would only strengthen the black blood formation. Yi Tianyun still turned a deaf ear to him and continued to kill the evil spirit race around him. With his technique, he killed them at the fastest speed possible. It seemed like it wouldn't take long for him to completely clear them out. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Boom. A wave of frenzied attacks came crashing over, and the evil emperor quickly defended but was forced back by the impact. It seemed that group attacks were quite useful. Don't go looking for the Alliance Master. Do you think we don't exist? The drug god and the others surrounded him one after another. The attacks on their hands did not stop. They were still fiercely smashing, wanting to use a crazy attack to repel him. They refused to believe that evil emperor could last for long if they continued attacking. Do you really think you can stop me with your puny abilities? With a flash, the evil emperor charged towards them again. He moved with shocking speed, instantly arriving in front of one of the gods. Before the god could react, he quickly tore him in half and drained all of his energy. Despite being surrounded by so many powerful heavenly gods, he was still able to kill his opponents. This kind of ability was truly terrifying. Continue to attack. They shouted angrily and continued to attack. But the results were the same. Evil Emperor was able to block their fierce attacks, and at most, he suffered some superficial wounds. His injuries were not serious. Don't talk about killing him, they could not even heavily injure him. In addition to Yi Tianyun's previous heavy damage, their attacks have no effect at all, completely ineffective. Instead, they did not dare to casually get close. Once they did, Evil Emperor's attacks were not to be trifled with. He would explode with a monstrous attack and tear them to pieces. None of the people present could match Evil Emperor in combat power. Therefore, if they got close, they would only die. They would not be able to stop him. Even Drug God did not dare to casually get close. He could only attack from a slightly closer distance. Close combat was not his area of expertise. There is no effect at all. We have so many people, but we can't even stop one person. Their expressions were ugly. Evil Emperor had been rushing over, and every time he attacked, a heavenly god would be killed. If this continued, Evil Emperor would definitely break through their attacks and attack Yi Tianyun. Evil Emperor's current target was Yi Tianyun. When he saw Yi Tianyun continuously killing the evil spirit race, he gritted his teeth in hatred. But with so many half-step god theatres blocking him, he could not easily kill his way over. When they wanted to continue attacking, a black figure appeared behind them. Everyone, let him fight Evil Emperor. Yi Tianyun's voice reached their ears. Their eyes turned and stopped on that black figure. They found that it was evil spirit deity, Fector Domain Master, and the others had seen this evil spirit puppet before, so they did not think much of it. Those who had not seen it before were surprised. Why was there an evil spirit deity here? Was it on their side? It's you. When Evil Emperor saw this evil spirit puppet, he was enraged. If there was anyone he hated the second most, it would be this evil spirit puppet. It had taken Huan Mingyu away and joined hands with Yi Tianyun. How could he not hate it? The evil spirit puppet did not speak. It patted its body and released all the evil spirit's pearls in its body. Boom! The black evil energy that soared into the sky exploded in all directions. It was not inferior to Evil Emperor's evil aura. Most importantly, the black blood formation was also suitable for it. It was even constantly moving the energy from the formation and absorbing it into its body. Evil spirits awaken. The evil spirit puppet's eyes were like bottomless abysses. In the next second, the evil spirit spread its demonic wings and guided more black energy to surge down. It was actually fighting with Evil Emperor for the energy. Not only that, its body started to swell and finally turned into an extremely evil spirits. The initial appearance of evil spirits was imprinted on the evil spirit puppet's expression. This was the effect of releasing the evil spirit's pearls. It was equivalent to the arrival of evil spirits. Its combat power was equivalent to a half-step god the Arch. It could even be said that it was not inferior to Evil Emperor. It was not that the evil spirit puppet was too powerful. It was just like Evil Emperor, it could snatch the black blood formation's energy to strengthen itself. It was just that the evil spirit puppet's body had been strengthened by Yi Tianyun. In addition, its capacity was not small. The energy it could extract was even more ferocious than Evil Emperor's. Evil Spirit's Pearls. You actually have the Evil Spirit's pearls. Moreover, you have all of them. Evil Emperor's eyes narrowed. He did not expect this traitor to have all of the Evil Spirit's pearls. Is the condition for you to join them for these Evil Spirit's pearls? Don't forget that you are from the Evil Spirit clan. Joining them will not end well. Chapter 1787. The Evil Emperor looked at the Evil Spirit puppet in front of him, stunned by the words that came out of it. He had never been so shocked before. Such a lifelike fellow in front of him turned out to be a puppet. How is this possible? How can a puppet be so lifelike? The Evil Emperor looked up and down at the Evil Spirit puppet. He really couldn't tell whether it was real or fake. Whether it was the aura or the bloodline, they were all first class. If I say you're an idiot, then you're an idiot. I think you're more like an idiot. Yi Tianyun sneered. Whether it's real or fake, we'll know once we try it. After releasing the Evil Spirit's orb, the energy consumption was serious, and the king was to fight quickly. However, he could use the black blood formation to replenish the energy, so he could continue using it. The key was that he couldn't keep using it. If he used the Evil Spirit's orb too much, there would be problems. The thing that sealed the Evil Spirits was not permanent. It could only be said that if he used it continuously, there would definitely be some problems. For example, the material could not withstand the release, causing it to collapse and shatter. Therefore, it was best to use it for as short a time as possible. If he kept using it, naturally he couldn't bear it. Now the Evil Spirit's orb was fully released. The 4 Evil Spirit's orbs were refined into one and then fused with the Evil Spirit puppet. However, the Evil Spirit puppet was just a puppet, and the Evil Spirits couldn't possess it. Damn it, what kind of freak is this? It doesn't affect me at all. The Evil Spirits screamed in the Evil Spirit's orb. His power was used, but he couldn't resist. He couldn't help but curse. But cursing was useless, he could only bear it silently. After Yi Tianyun exploded, he immediately controlled the Evil Spirit puppet to pounce forward. A huge shadow of the Evil Spirits appeared from behind, covering the area. In an instant, it arrived in front of the Evil Emperor and launched a fierce attack. Darkness descend. It was a familiar move, and a black pillar of energy descended, pressing down on the Evil Emperor, wanting to crush him in one fell swoop. The Evil Emperor had yet to recover from his shock. By the time he did, the Evil Spirit puppet had already arrived in front of him and was attacking fiercely. He could only hurriedly counterattack and collide with this move. Boom! The darkness energy clashed against the darkness energy, and in the end, the Evil Spirit puppet was still slightly superior. It forced the Evil Emperor back, but its body was charred black, and a lot of its energy had been devoured. Evil spirits also had the ability to devour, so the Evil Spirit puppet's attacks also had this effect. He extracted a small part of Evil Emperor's body, but it was just a small part, and it was not very useful. The main reason was that their attributes and abilities were the same, so the effects wouldn't be particularly obvious. However, being able to suppress the Evil Emperor was already enough. Everyone cheered when they saw this. This was simply a black-on-black situation. It felt incomparably refreshing. Yi Tianyun used the power of the Evil Spirit race, which was also the power of the Evil Spirits, to suppress the Evil Emperor. It was as if he was fighting his own people. How could he not feel good? Only then did the medicine god and the others catch their breath and start to replenish their energy. Not only did the fierce attacks not have any effect, but they had also consumed a lot of energy. Due to the black blood formation above, the consumption would be greater than usual. Alliance leader is too powerful. No wonder he said that he wanted the Evil Spirits' pearl. So it has this kind of effect. This is the benefit of not being afraid of the backlash. We can always use it. This time, the Evil Emperor can be suppressed. I hope he can be truly suppressed. This looks a little difficult. Let's prepare for battle and launch a sneak attack on the Evil Emperor. They did not watch from the side. Instead, they analyzed the Evil Emperor's condition and prepared to attack at any time. It wasn't their style to just stand there and watch foolishly. Even if some of them could not help, they would immediately move to another area and help kill the Evil Spirit race. No one present was idle. The battle had already begun. Other than a few who were preparing to attack, the rest went to kill the evil spirit race. Almost all of the evil spirit races had spread out towards the divine realm and were all mobilized. It could be said that most of the forces were attacked by the evil spirit race. It was much crazier than the first time. It was several times, or even more than 10 times. It was extremely crazy. This was a big attack, the beginning of the battle between the divine emperor. How could it not be crazy? As a result, all the forces started to fight a bloody battle together, and there were casualties at every moment. Either the evil spirit race was destroyed, or they died. This was the cruel battle between the divine emperor. It could be said that it was a blood sacrifice for all the cultivators. Once the evil emperor successfully broke through, this battle would end. However, correspondingly, the remaining surviving cultivators would basically become the slaves of the evil spirit race. Boom. Boom. The evil spirit puppet and the evil emperor clashed a few times. The evil spirit puppet absorbed the black blood formation and even specially extracted an area. This caused another hole to appear on top. This was the effect of absorbing too much. This was deliberately done by Yi Tianyun in order to reduce the area on this side so that the power of the evil emperor's main body could be weakened. After all, as long as he was not under the black blood formation, the evil emperor's strength would be weakened by 20%, which was extremely miserable. If he could achieve this effect, he would be able to kill him in one fell swoop. Explode. The evil emperor roared and fiercely pierced through, wanting to pierce through the evil spirit puppet. However, how could Yi Tianyun let him succeed? He once again mobilized the power of the evil spirits to fight head-on. After doing this continuously, the energy above became thinner and thinner. However, the evil emperor was very smart. He would immediately change his area and attack the other heavenly gods. He was not afraid that Yi Tianyun would not come over. After luring him over, he would fight head-on. When the two fought, it was really hard to tell who would win. The overall situation was that Yi Tianyun's side was slightly weaker. The evil emperor's strength was not just for show. Yi Tianyun's side was relying on the power of the evil spirits, but the strength of the puppet's main body was still slightly weaker. However, there was no problem in holding back the evil emperor. Damn it, it's not working. I didn't expect that I would be forced to use my ultimate move at this time. The evil emperor's expression was ugly. With his original strength, he could easily kill them or slowly exhaust them to death. Now, a puppet came out of nowhere and even used the power of the evil spirits. The evil spirit's strength was very terrifying, not inferior to the evil emperor's at all, which was why they were on equal footing. No matter what, the evil spirits had almost succeeded in the past, but there were many experts in this world. One seal was enough to seal him. The evil emperor was not afraid of being sealed, but the appearance of the senior evil spirits shocked and angered him. Chapter 1788. When the evil emperor took out the special awakening crystal, everyone's heart sank. They could tell that this thing was not ordinary. They had thought that the evil emperor was already strong enough. Could it be that after using this awakening crystal, he would become even more terrifying? If that was really the case, then how could they play? Stop him. Yi Tianyun immediately rushed towards the evil emperor to stop him. Yi Tianyun waved his black energy and attacked the evil emperor again. But how could the evil emperor let him interrupt him? The awakening crystal was stuffed into his body, and a berserk energy instantly enveloped his body. Roar. The evil emperor roared, and a berserk energy was released from his body. Circles of black light spread out from the surface of his body, and when they came into contact with Yi Tianyun's attack, they directly melted his attack. With just a roar, he had melted Yi Tianyun's strongest move. The remaining attacks also fiercely hit the evil spirit puppet, sending it flying. When it stopped, there was already a deep mark on its body, and it was almost cut in half at the waist. Other than that, the surrounding black blood great formation's energy crazily surged into the evil emperor's body, as if it was a sign of the descent of a king. However, it was not a breakthrough to become a god emperor, but the appearance of a strongest king after awakening. The evil emperor continued to shout, and the surface of his body gradually seeped out black crystal pieces, finally covering his entire body. The demon wings on his back were also covered by black crystal pieces, as if his entire body was covered in a thick layer of crystal armor. Not only that, a hole opened up on his forehead, and a special eye appeared. Evil black gas surrounded his body. The black gas continuously attacked the space, and the area it touched was completely devoured. After it was completed, the evil emperor's true appearance was that there was an extra eye on his forehead, and his body was covered in black crystals. This was completely different from the previous awakening. It was like a different kind of change. This is the true appearance of the evil spirit race. He is drawing the power of another world over. The price is very high, but the power is also the strongest. Huan Mingyue's voice came from afar. She did not participate in the battle, but fought against the evil spirit race together. Huan Mingyue's abilities were not small, but against the evil emperor, she was still too lacking. If she could even kill the evil emperor, she would have ruled the entire evil spirit race long ago. The true appearance of the evil spirit race. Yi Tianyun's eyes narrowed. Just by exploding out, he had already forced the evil spirit puppet to retreat. Just the energy it emitted was enough to almost cut him in half. It was truly terrifying. If this was the true appearance of the evil spirit race, then it would be extremely terrifying. Fortunately, it was in this world. Otherwise, it would have been suppressed in the world of the evil spirit race. Correspondingly, they didn't have an advantage here either. After all, this was not a world that belonged to them, and their powers would be suppressed. I'm afraid he's about to become a god emperor. Yi Tianyun's heart trembled. He didn't expect the explosive power to be so strong. He didn't know how to describe this power. He couldn't even describe it accurately. It could only be said that he was very strong, so strong that he had crossed another level. Yi Tianyun did not compromise, and also took out an awakening crystal. This thing was something that every evil spirit race with a stronger cultivation had. Thus, he could easily get his hands on it, then stuff it into his mouth and consume it. Although it couldn't compare to the one in the evil emperor's hand, it could at least unleash a portion of its energy. After consuming it, the evil spirit puppet's body immediately changed. However, at most, its aura would be greatly strengthened, and the surface of its body would not change much. Facing the evil emperor's heaven-defying transformation, it was simply not on the same level. I never thought that this emperor would be forced to use this move by you. To be honest, this emperor really doesn't want to use this move. The evil emperor twisted his neck and walked towards Yi Tianyun. Every step he took felt as if he was stepping on everyone's chests, making them feel extremely heavy. The energy that spread out from his feet could send any expert who was slightly closer flying. It could be said that the energy released by a casual movement was not something they could resist. Is that so? Then it's my honor. Yi Tianyun's eyes turned cold, and in the next second, he controlled the evil spirit puppet to attack fiercely. After unleashing its power was greatly increased. In an instant, it arrived in front of the evil emperor, waved its sharp claws, and stabbed them fiercely. After awakening, the claws on its hands could replace heavenly god spiritual treasures. This was the awakening of the evil spirits, and its power naturally could not be weak. However, the evil emperor did not even dodge, and did not even bother to block it. He just stood there. Clang! With a heavy blow, Yi Tianyun instantly felt the front limbs of the evil spirit puppet being rebounded, and then the hard claws were smashed into pieces and turned into a pile of powder. On the other hand, only a faint mark was left on the surface of the evil emperor's body. The terrifying defense made everyone suck in a breath of cold air. Wasn't his defense a little too strong? This was already at the level of a monster. How could it hurt him? You want to hurt me with this bit of power? Even if the evil spirits were to be reborn, they can't hurt me. The evil emperor stretched out his hand and grabbed it, and said with a cold smile, obediently hand over the evil spirit's pearl, trash. Like the claw of the Grim Reaper, it viciously grabbed him, wanting to catch him. Yi Tianyun shouted, and quickly swung his arm down again. The power of the evil spirits poured out. However, the result did not change. Under the fierce attack, the evil emperor at most swayed a little, and was not affected at all. Instead, his chest was pierced, and he was fixed in the air. Come out! The evil emperor pulled out one of the evil spirit's pearls, and it landed in his hand. However, not all of them landed in his hand, and only one was in his hand. This made him stunned. Why only one? In an instant, Yi Tianyun had already scattered the evil spirit's pearls, so naturally he could only catch one. Taking this opportunity, he quickly retreated, wanting to escape from the attack range. You came to my territory, and you still want to leave? The evil emperor laughed coldly, and continued to grab him. He had clearly escaped far away, but this grab seemed to shorten the distance, and arrived in front of Yi Tianyun, ready to pierce through his body. At this time, a light that combined all the powers pierced through the evil emperor's territory, and greeted him. The evil emperor's eyes revealed a look of surprise. Facing such an attack, he could only stop grabbing Yi Tianyun, and turn his hand to block it. Boom! The evil emperor was sent flying by the attack, and the crystals on his body began to crack. He wasn't injured, but his defense was broken.